When I was little, my father was famous. He was the greatest samurai in the empire. He cut off the heads of 131 lords. People said his brain was infected by devils and that he was rotting with evil. He said he had a lot of enemies, but he killed more people than that. He was the greatest samurai in the empire. He cut off the heads of 131 lords. He just stayed inside his castle, and he never came out. It was a bad time. Everybody living in fear. Maybe that was the problem. He became an assassin. And he took me with him. He was the greatest samurai in the empire. And he took me with him. He cut off the heads of 131 lords. But he killed more people than that. It was a bad time. And he took me with him. You're not like other people. Maybe that was the problem. He said he had a lot of enemies. My father was famous. He was the greatest samurai in the empire.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Let me know if it can be heard. I don't think I can. Hold on a second. Can I be heard? Sound check. How am I doing? Doesn't look like I'm doing that great right now. You good? All right, cool. Just I apologize for the moving of the mic. Quiet though. Okay. Yep. Levels are down. Is that better? All right, cool. Yeah. I just had my mic level down. All right. I don't think I have a need for this. Right now, I don't have anybody in the room. Hey, what's up, everybody? Good morning. And welcome to this live stream. Thanks for taking the time out of your day to spend it with me. Let's see. I'm doing this live stream today, one, because I won't be able to do this on Sunday, and I really wanted to thank you all that helped me to get to 30,000 subscribers. 30,000, you know, who'd have thunk it? Now, in the world of YouTube, that's not a whole lot. It's really not. But the idea of 30,000 users that are interested in what I have to say is pretty big on a regular person level. It's been kind of a long road getting to this point. I've been making videos for since 2010, I think. And from 2010 to 2017, pretty much, I think I slowly made my way up to 1,000 subscribers. And then in 2017, my 11 questions flat earthers are afraid to answer video somehow hit the the beloved YouTube algorithm, and so here we are today. So that's kind of crazy. And the thing is, it's not me, because I don't promote. I don't promote at all. I frequently forget to say things like, "Hey, like and subscribe and push the bell." I forget all that kind of stuff. But you guys push it. you know, people come up to you with ideas and you send them to my videos, and that's how I've been growing. It's all been because of you guys. So I wanted to thank you very much for that. Let's see who's in the room. First, let's get rid of this picture of myself. I don't need to see myself. Who do we got? Let's start most recent. Rapid X. Oh, let me see. Also, let me get my Discord mods going. Okay, got my Discord going. Okay, cool. Hey, Sean Hawkins is in the room. Let's see. Fat paramotor guy. I don't know if I know you, fat paramotor guy. Hey, Tex Titan, you made it in. Cool. Nice to see you. MF Doom, Mad Villain. Come on. Best name out there. Yes, someone did say Discord, Young Blue. Yeah, any of my mods. If you see my mods, I got a little wrench there. You know, these guys are they're kind of they've kind of run the gauntlet, you know, to get to this point. So sub them. Check out their stuff. Let's see. Mr. Also, thank you very much for your kind words. Let me see who else is in. Jimmy Callanan, excuse me. Callanan. Oh, I went to Callanan Junior High in Des Moines, Iowa. That was my junior high. Let's see. Intellectual iconoclasm. Thank you very much. Rapid X. Hey, what's up? Red Racer. Who else is in the room? Trebuchet. Thank you very much. Pambook. Good evening. Tony. Jay Serrano. Mini Films. Hey, what's up? All right, we got a bunch of people in the room. I don't know if you can hear people in the other room. So yeah, it's 8 o'clock this morning. We're going to stay here for a little while, see what we can do. NANA can't usually make it, but I'm glad you're here today. Always a pleasure. Thank you very much. So let's see. Yeah, 30,000 subs. That's kind of awesome. Now, let's see. I'm going to share my other screen here before. Thank you, Young Blue, for the kind words. Let me share my screen here real quick. So I have some stuff I want to talk about. I don't have a whole lot of stuff to talk about. So we're going to just be kind of vamping it for this show. There's nothing important on there. Okay. So as many of you know, I put out a video a few days ago announcing that I'm going to be doing this live stream and asking people directly. This is to your question, throwaway AV Clubber. Asking globe deniers directly. Hey, what's up, Graham King? If they would like to send me a video. Actually, I'm too busy talking. Let's stop this. To send me a video asking me their globe stopper question. What big question do you have that you want to ask me? Put yourself on camera, ask the question, and I'll answer it here. And if you want, especially the bigger guys, I said, drop me a line. I will send you a link to this live stream, and you can ask me the question directly. Ask me your big question. Not a big debate. Just ask me a question. If I can answer it, I can answer it. I might not be able to answer it because some questions are obscure. But that was the request I put out. So how many people want to guess how many requests RSVPs to come on, or how many questions I was given in the chat? How many questions or RSVPs did I get for this show? Just you give a number. Let's see what we got. We got zeros. We got the ones. We got a few. We got zeros. We got So the fact is, I got one. I got one, and that was from Daniel Pratt. One out of all the globe deniers out there, only Daniel Pratt had the whatevers to do it. And so I got to commend Daniel for putting himself out there, actually being willing to put himself on on camera. I see some of you. Oh no. Yeah. So just one, literally just one. Even people who were on in the on the comment threads, yeah, asking questions. I was like, hey, put them on video. I literally told people that made comments on my videos to ask questions like, hey, just put yourself on camera and ask this question. Ask this question. Go ahead, send me a thing. Ask me this question. None of them did. Damn, Daniel. Very good. We'll get to Deep Marble in a second. So let's see. I'm trying to decide if I'm actually going to play this here. Okay. A little warning right here. And actually, I'm going to take that warning off because I don't feel like switching over the audio so you can listen to this. So I'm actually not gonna play it. But I will discuss his question. And if he's hovering over this, actually let me be cool. Let me be cool. But I will. Let's see. Let me change my output. Let me do the little share screen guy. I will play this for you guys. I'm just good. Actually, I'm not gonna do it that way. I'll control the volume myself by just playing it out here. See. Okay, let me turn it up. All right, so we're just gonna have to hear it through the mic. Let me know if you can hear this thing.
That was awesome. Okay, GreaterSapien. That was awesome that you included me. I feel so special.
Can you guys hear that? Can you guys hear that enough? I don't want to crank this up too loud. I'll bring my inputs up. Nope, not enough, huh? Okay, thank you. Thanks for the heads up. So output there, input. Okay.
Okay, GreaterSapien. That was awesome.
You don't want it loud.
I feel so special. In your little list of people to ask you questions on your little 30,000 subscriber celebration. Congratulations. You've got 29,000 bots and 1,000 trolls that watch your channel. Congratulations. So, I think you know what question I'm going to ask. Not because I expect any truth. I just want to see which excuse you'll go with. And I'm going to be kind enough to provide the truth to counter it before you ever even give it. Because your answer can only be one of three things, GreaterSapien.
Okay, and I'm going to stop there. Okay. And the reason I'm going to stop there, let me stop sharing this here. And the reason I'm going to stop there is that his question, oh, hey, I'm getting a lot on Discord. Hold on, folks. His question is about the Polar Explorer flight. And he gives me three possible answers, all of which are just insults to me and my character. Are you this? Are you that? Or are you both? Basically, just crude insults about me prefaced on to a question about the Polar Explorer flight. So that's the only question I got from people. Now, here's the thing, Daniel, because I know you're watching. I asked for a question. Hold on, let me turn down my little alerts that are beeping away. I asked for direct questions concerning the globe. I asked direct questions about your biggest globe stopper claim, the thing that most makes the globe not possible for you. That's what I asked for. I specifically said, ask me a question about the globe and give me your big globe stopper question. Yet you, in your unbridled ignorance, don't seem to have the ability to comprehend a basic question. A basic question, basic request, which is ask a question about the globe. Yet for some reason, you couldn't do that. And maybe you don't understand what I'm saying right now. So let me talk to you more directly in a way you might understand. So here's the thing, Daniel. When you're asked a specific question, listen to the question and try to approach it with the intent of the question in mind. Don't just take your own tact of insults and bravado and heavy breath laughter and get an opportunity to make an insult on somebody. Listen to the question, because if you can't listen to the question, you sound ignorant. That's your problem. But I want to say thank you to Daniel. Thank you for being the poster boy for the globe denial mentality. Of all the people who were potentially watching and could have asked a question, you're the only one to step up and ask a question. And you couldn't do it. You didn't have the ability. You're so twisted that you couldn't ask a question about the globe. What's so difficult about that? It's amazing. It's amazing. So there's your answer to your question. The answer to your question is learn how to listen. I mean, maybe this is why you are what you are. You don't have the ability to actually comprehend what other people are saying, process the information, and then come back with something else. And when you can't do that, of course, you're going to end up like a globe denier because you can't process information. It's kind of sad. So, but thanks, Daniel. You did perfect. Let's see. So he also followed up, though. He did have another thing. Oh, before I go on to something else that Mr. Pratt has done. Let's see. Go there. Let's see anybody quick, just to make sure no one's asking me a question. If you do have a direct question, either tag me in the question or hit up one of my moderators, especially Young Blue. Young Blue has access to the Discord. He can always drop me something off to the side to make sure I see it. Yeah. So moderators, if you're on the Discord, hop on there. You can hit me up on the side there. So let's see any direct questions right off the bat before I move on to something else that Daniel did another question, but wasn't to me. He did another video, but it's kind of related. So I'll bring that in. Let's see. Would somebody show an experiment with mechanical gyroscopes? Hugo Perez says, would somebody show an experiment with mechanical gyroscope showing Earth rotation? And I'm sure Bob, the science guy, would answer this better than me. But the problem you have with the mechanical gyroscope is getting one that will stay up and going for a long enough period of time and eliminate the kind of friction that happens in the system. The thing is, the mechanical gyroscope is sitting within the gimbals and all that kind of stuff, and there's friction that happens in there. And so that slows it down, and it also keeps it from being able to move as freely as we like to think they do. We always think, oh, they just move freely, but well, they don't move freely. You know, they don't. They're within a container, and there's always stuff going on with that, and which will always make an excuse for globe deniers to say, well, it didn't do this, and it's like, well, that's because there's energy loss in the system. So if there's somehow a way of attaching a well-balanced, had to be a really well-balanced motor to a gyroscope to keep it going and keep it in a relatively frictionless, I don't know, through magnetic fields or something like that, it would work pretty good. But the funny thing is that you're asking for a mechanical gyroscope, which is the question is, why do you need it to be a mechanical gyroscope? Is that because you know that a fiber optic gyroscope or a ring laser gyroscope, which is more precise, will definitely show the rotation of the Earth? Is that why you're asking for a mechanical gyroscope? Let's see what else is popping. I'm seeing a lot of things making noise. All right, cool. All right. Let's see. Okay, so other thing Daniel asked in another video, he responded. He a lot of people have seen, and even I tweeted this, the video with Alex Jones and Eddie Bravo, which was kind of awesome. It's like, crabs in the barrel, just trying to, one up each other on who's like the more crazy and more, outrageous. So it was really kind of fun. Yeah, I mean, maddening, but still hilarious. That it was just like, no. You're crazy for thinking the Earth is flat. But there are satanic rituals going on that are doing this. It's like, it was awesome. That was already done, Hugo Perez. So you're saying Daniel Pratt just posted another video? Okay, maybe I'll take a look at it here if I have a chance, if we can do that. But yeah, so Pratt responded to that because in that video, Alex Jones, who was taking upon the mantle of science proponent, Mr. Bravo, I admire your talent, and I admire your work ethic to get you where you are in your martial endeavors. But when Alex Jones is taking upon the mantle of science proponent, you know that you have a problem. Read the room. You got a problem, man. Much respect, but dude, don't let Alex Jones look like the sensible guy. Just, that's a signal to change your ways. Oh, and here's my dog. Hey, girly, how you doing? All right, you're gonna need to go out in a second. Okay, I got it. Sorry, somebody's bugging me that they're gonna need to go out. I'll have to talk to my boy, see if I can get him. I don't know. So in responding to that, so real quick, do I have any big plans for March 20th? I'm going to be doing a trip to DC like the day after that. I'm going to be just working my butt off. I'm chaperoning my kids' 8th grade class to a trip to Washington, DC. So I'm going to be chaperoning a bunch of 8th grade guys through the DC museums. You will definitely be getting some videos out of that. But so that's, I'm going to be mostly focused on that. I won't have any chance to do anything else. So one thing that Alex Jones brought up was this idea. I think he suggested to Bravo that he do a ship or something. I can't remember if it was a ship or a plane that would go to Antarctica or go to the South Pole or something. They're so crazy. It's hard to follow their thought process. And so that was the whole concept. They're going to do this trip, maybe even around the world or something like that. Because, Alex Jones got a bunch of money. And so Pratt says, hey, why don't, instead of doing whatever you're planning to do, just do this over the poles trip. Just do it. Just that simple thing. And it would disprove everything. A simple flight, he put it. Let me see here real quick here. Bum, 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 bum. So as he put it, it was a simple flight. His whole video is about how just a simple flight would prove the point. Just do it. Just, you have the money, just go do it. And then he commented to me on a thread to the other video saying, why don't you go along with them, GreaterSapien? You can be like, like their globe proponent to go on. And I have a suggestion myself. An even simpler flight. See, Daniel says it's a simple flight. Just do this thing. Just go over the poles. It's very simple. Well, if simplicity is the idea, I have a more simple idea. You have what you think the Earth looks like. A simpler flight to prove whether or not your vision of the Earth is correct would be one from, say, Sydney to Johannesburg. It's a simple flight. It's not as far as the other one. Doesn't take up as much fuel. Won't require nearly as much investment. Just go from Sydney to Johannesburg, and when you do it, make sure you have, let's see, according to this, you have almost directly, you have a, what is that, a 330 degree vector, just about 30 degrees west from north. So just head out about 30 degrees west from north, and don't change. Just stay exactly on that same vector, and see if you get where you're going. Just do that. Just set out on a plane at that vector, hold it, and see if you get where you need to go. But you won't. Because see, I've taken this flight, and in order to do it, this is not the way we went, because you can't get there that way. And it's a much easier flight. So you say, it's a simple flight. Just take a simple flight. I took a simple flight, and I proved that your map, your concept of a flat Earth, is asinine. So, balls in your court. And instead of, and the reason I say balls in your court is, I find it amazing that people like yourself keep saying, hey, Globies, just do this and prove it. Just do this and prove it. Why don't you just do it and prove it? You get out there and do these things. Just get on a flight and do this. Well, just get on a flight, and a simple one, not even a worldwide flight, just an transcontinental flight on a given vector, and get where you want to go. But it's much easier. This is why I call you guys globe deniers. It's much easier for you guys to say, you go do this and prove it and prove yours. Until then, I'm going to deny what you say, instead of you actually taking the mantle of your own claim and proving it. You're not about proving your claim. You're about trying to make other people prove theirs. And until they do, you're just going to deny it. That's what you do. Every time. Except for those of you who keep doing the same laser tests over and over again, because you've recognized that there are inherent like uncertainties in laser tests, so there's always a chance to get a result you want. You don't seem to take any tests that have any definitive results. You just keep repeating the same ones over and over again because they're mushy and you think they'll get you where you want. Stop doing tests that you think will get you the result you want. Try to break your theory. Try to break it. And if it holds up to it, then you're good. Let us see what is going on. Okay, so real quick, before I get to more things you guys are saying, I want to say real quick here. I want to say thank you to my patrons. You guys have been very patient. I've been really busy lately. I haven't given you unique content. I am recording 2 videos today, which you will get in advance of any other YouTube. So you'll be getting that. I'll get back to giving you guys some more special content. So I haven't gotten permission to say everybody's full name here, so I'm not going to do it. But I want to say thanks to Brainery, Carlos, you guys are patrons, so you know who you are. Caroline, Clayton, Ken, Kimmo. This is the username, Limiting Factor, Michael, Mr. Barrett, Peter, Mr. Whitaker, Rennie, Shauna, Dr. Welter, and What Jesus. Thank you very much for being a patron. I appreciate it very greatly. Not only are you sub, but you've actually you've shown a great deal of support for me during all this. So I will be recording. Like I said, I have 2 videos that I'm doing. One's about comic books, about the Captain Marvel movie coming up, and one is a response to some statements that D. Marble has been doing lately. It's a response to a statement. It's not a response to him. Staying away from trying to make this personal. Deal with the claim, not the person. So I'm recording those today. I'll probably release them on Patreon tomorrow and Sunday, and then the videos will go on YouTube Sunday and Monday. That's the plan on those, or maybe Sunday and Tuesday. We'll see. So thank you very much to all my patrons. And so the one perk that, for patrons that I'm trying to get back to is the fact that I'm going to release videos on Patreon at least 24 hours in advance of releasing them on YouTube. All right. It was cold when I got on this porch, and now it is not. Let me take this off. Okay. I see a lot of tags going on here. So, hey, Young Blues back. Nice to see you, sir. Let us see. I see some tags here. I have never addressed red pill philosophies, flat Earth claims. I haven't really looked at red pill stuff. It hasn't really come across. Let's see. I mean, it's come up every so often on other people's things, but I haven't seen anything. I don't sub. And no one's really sent me a bunch of links, so I haven't found it. Siberial, thank you very much. What? You said you did the visual effects for Captain Marvel and watch my videos while working? Excellent. I actually have a joke in there about the video effects in there. It's not insulting, but it's still, there's a joke about the visual effects in there. So yeah, that'll be coming up in a couple days. Let's see. What if several of us make observations on March 20 equinox and turn them over to you when you return from DC? That would be great. Spirit of Toad. Also look at sending things to Wolfie. Sly is great about combining other people's data. But yeah, that would be great. I will probably do the standard if the weather has sucked here lately. I will probably try to do the standard Wolfie uh, Equinox experiment. I tried it last year, last winter, and it was too much cloud cover. I did it in the fall, worked great. So I might try it again this winter if we have the what day of the week is that? If I can get the day off as well. That's the other thing, is I have to have the day off to be able to do it. Patreon link is just someone hit the Patreon link. It's patreon.com/GreaterSapien. Let's see if I can do it real quick here. I have it. There's- let's see. Anything special for Pi Day? Pi Day. Am I doing anything special? No. I think I'm getting cortisone shots in my knees on Pi Day. Yeah, it's not really special. That's just the way it goes. Let's see. You simply must see this video. So, someone's going to do a link to some video. So yeah, send them to me. That would be great. Also, if you can do a 15-degree, I don't know what experiments, but a 15-degree per hour on an equatorial uh, sundial would be great. I'm going to be doing that as much as I can. Let's see. When you are ready to have a real, not heliocentric universe discussion, check out my work and let me know. And you're taking the easy road on purpose by focusing on Dan Pratt. Actually, no. The reason I'm talking about Dan Pratt is that he is the only one that responded to my requests. Literally, he is the only one. We even had somebody who was on my last live stream, Native Honey Insight. Why it's spelled that way, I don't know, but Native Honey Insight that was talking about, I want to have a live one-on-one with you. And I'm like, hey, at least put a video together. She never did it. Okay. So whoever that was saying that I'm taking the low-hanging fruit or whatever by going after Daniel Pratt, it's like he's literally the only one that has said anything. So I gets what I gets. Cool. Thanks for putting the Discord up there, Young Blue. All right. Let's see. Did I do some star trail observations in Australia? Yes, I did. Both me and Critical Think did, and that will be a part of my next video. So, could I address the moon rotation observations? No, I don't know what Mr. Thrive and Survive is all fired up about. The fact that there is an undulation in the moon's position, does that somehow bug him or something? We've known about it for like forever. So, let's say, just going for my tags. Brainery, congrats on the 30K. Thank you for your patronage. I got your Settle Infinity one. RPP stuff is terrible, but at least get a lot of views and money. RPP stuff. And any more tags? Yeah, did that. No, going out and making observations on the equinox, it's going to be great. I just don't know if I'll be able to do it because I'll be, like I said, I've got some court cases pending and I plan on taking time off with the kids. So we'll see about that. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, cool. Let's see. Somebody asked about D-Marble. So I will be addressing a couple of his scenarios, his claims in my next video. And thank you, Renee. I love the fact that you keep giving me money, and even though you don't support me. Renee wants to say that CGI and fisheye are not proof of a spinning ball. you're absolutely right. That's why we have non-CGI photos and non-fisheye lens of the Earth. Thanks for the support. Yeah, I'm on the super chat. Thank you. That was Renee on the super chat. What was I saying? So Mr. Marble, young Mr. Marble, took a cue from Daniel Pratt, which is kind of like, I just thought of this. Hey, what's up, brother Sanchez? It is completely possible for you and me to have a one-on-one dialogue and not a debate. I am not interested in a debate because there's nothing to debate. But if you just want to talk, I have no problem with that. We got time here. I don't know if you're up to it now, but we can do it here. That was brother Sanchez, who I've actually never spoken to, with a super chat there. So Mr. Marble took a cue from Daniel Pratt, which is kind of like Eddie Bravo taking advice from Alex Jones, and decided to, okay, cool. Can you hit me up, brother Sanchez? I don't know if you're on Discord, or hit me up at GreaterSapien@gmail.com, and I'll send you a link. And so Carlos Pagan, let's see if any super chats I'm seeing here. I think I might have missed the super chat. Let me double check. Let's see. I did not see yours, Carlos. I didn't see Rapid X's either. So thank you very much, Rapid X. Just here the issue of e-begging. And Carlos Pagan, ready to collab. Sure, we can get something together, Carlos. You know, my schedule's kind of crazy, but we can get something together. I got Siberial and Renee and Brother Sanchez. It's going to hit me up at GreaterSapien at my Gmail address, and I'm going to send him a link, and he's going to come in. I don't know Brother Sanchez. I've seen very few things of his. I got nothing against the man personally, literally nothing, because I have not reviewed his stuff. So it's going to be a cold reading conversation, first time meeting, just so you know. What was I gonna say? So D Marble took Daniel Pratt's lead and asked about, why aren't people talking about GreaterSapien's pole-to-pole flight? Actually, he didn't say that because for some reason he can't bring himself to say my name without making it into an insult. It's funny how someone says they don't care about someone, yet they take the time to make sure they don't say their name, which tells me that you actually do care. See, I actually don't care. I have no problem saying Daniel Pratt's name or D Marble's name or anybody's name because it's just a name. For some reason, he's always got to say something else. But he decided that it was important to change the subject from what happened with Jaron and Bob to talk about what happened with me last year. And it was interesting decision to change the subject. So I'm going to check my email real quick. I'm going to try to get Brother Sanchez on here. So while I do that, let's take a musical break. I'll try to put commercials. I'll let the commercials happen. The ads happen during this spot, and we'll give you a little. Let's see if I can give you some music here. I'll put a sound flower. And I'll be right back with you shortly after I get things together with Brother Sanchez. Let's give you a little bit of music for a while.
What is thy bidding, my master?
There is a great disturbance in the Force.
I felt it.
have a new enemy. He would destroy us.
Join us or die.
I'm looking forward to completing your training. In time, you will call me Master.
It is pointless to resist, my son. You underestimate the power of the dark side. You underestimate the power of the dark side. You've only begun to discover your power. Join me, and I will complete your training.
I'm looking forward to completing your training.
I'll never join you! It is pointless to resist, my son. I see you have constructed a new lightsaber. Your skills are complete.
Is the dark side stronger?
Its energy surrounds us.
Strike me down with all of your hatred, and your journey towards the dark side will be complete.
All righty. I'm back. Hope you can hear me all right. Let me this going here. I just sent off the link to Brother Sanchez. You guys hear me okay? So he's going to pop in when he gets here. He's just going to hop right in the room. Let's see. I got another super chat. Let's see who's our super chat this time. Fat paramotor guy. His fat paramotor guy. His question is: my question is this: given that God is infinite and that the universe is also infinite, would you like a toasted tea cake? Why? Yes, I would. Did I let the cat out? That was last week. I was my dog, and I think my son took care of it. Okay, so the link has been sent out, Brother Sanchez. Hopefully you got it okay, and you'll be popping in any second. Okay, so until then, oh, my mouse battery is getting low. No big. Until then, let's see what else is going on in the room. Not yet. Let me make sure that email went off. Sent. Looks good. Let me know if you're having a problem there, Mr. Sanchez. So did I take my flight yet? And from stop. Search me. The flight was back in January. Oh, I think I heard something. I think somebody's here. There we go. I think we got Brother Sanchez in the house. Is that you?
Yeah, this is me. Can you hear me pretty good?
I can hear you loud and clear. You're great.
I'm probably a little too loud. I turned my mic up a little bit. How you doing today?
I'm doing all right. The levels are good for me. Let people in the room tell us how they're hearing things. Make sure everything's cool. All right. Cool. So you and I have never met. We have never exchanged. I don't even think you've even commented on any of my videos ever. I don't think we've ever had any exchange. Am I right?
Yeah, you're right. And I think that's actually a good thing because this is my first time being in your chat room. Oh, hold on a second. I'm
No,
sorry.
do your thing. Yeah.
Yeah, this is my first time. This is my first time being in your chat room. And basically, I didn't come up here to debate. I'm glad that you in the same spirit I'm in, because I see what's going on with the, and not to just come on here and start hogging your show or nothing, but
No problem.
I just want to say, man, salutes to you. We may not agree on the shape of the earth, but I think what we can do as flat earthers and globe earthers is go about having these kind of dialogues better. And I like what you said about, hey man, the debates are pointless. All it do is, see, the thing is this: I got cousins, brothers, I got family members, and you better believe me that my family members are globalists. So you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I love my family members. I don't debate flat earth with them every day. So I'm saying with these communities, I see that it's going kind of on some gangster mentality type crap with a lot of the people in the chats on both sides.
So I got quick on that point about having family members and things. What do you think? And I think you're alluding to it here about the whole idea that a lot of what flat earthers, globe deniers, I like to call, when they denigrate people that don't agree with them as being like sheep, being brainwashed, being indoctrinated, and when you have family members that you respect that don't agree with you, how does that come across to you when you hear that kind of stuff?
Well, my family members, they respect me. One thing about what you got to realize, I've always been a straight A student. Like I came up, I was the guy that impressed my family. Like I was the guy in my family that made it to the Air Force. You know, you got to score hella high to make it into the Air Force. I was a whiz kid. I was a young author. I'm a poet. My family respect me, but they do think that I'm kind of off, but it's not because of flat earth. My family started thinking I was off when I said Jesus didn't exist. So when I said the flat earth, that was like the last straw. Like what, so my thing always been challenging what I was taught since a child, which is the reason I wanted to build with you and not debate you, because I wanted to be one of the flat earthers that develop a relationship with an influential globalist like yourself, and it don't be about going against each other. It's more of you understanding a genuine flat earther. I'm a genuine flat earther, and if you got questions, I can do my best to, answer them for you. Like, why would I believe it's flat? All that stuff you ask. I'm here. I can be your flat earther that'll be genuine and speak to you, in that manner. So thanks for having me, man.
Oh, no problem. And I don't have like questions prepared or anything, but thanks for reaching out. I do have your email now. And so in the future, if something comes up and I'm like, hey, what's going on with this? I'll drop you a line. Especially if anything comes up when it comes to you, because I know I hear people criticizing you about certain things. So I'll come to the source if I have any questions about something you've said. But I think it's interesting because your experience kind of parallels mine when it comes to my disbelief in a God. I come from a family of religious people who are that believe in God and Jesus, and so when people criticize me and try to say that I think that religious people are stupid and I think that they're all brainwashed idiots, I'm like, that's my mom you're talking about. Why would I think that about my family? It's like I respect them just fine. I may not agree with them on that subject, but I don't have I don't denigrate them and judge them just because they disagree with me. But a lot of people, think that I must just because I don't agree. Just like a lot of people of your community speak that way of global supporters. So I think there's a parallel there. So tell me about yourself. Tell me a little bit about your background. I know you said Air Force. have you done any particular science study, or are you just like an enthusiast? What brought you to where you are today?
Well, I always been interested in space. I was a huge Neil deGrasse Tyson fan, and if you were to interview my family, they'll tell you I got on their nerves for always changing the subject to some deep shit about stars and planets. You know what I'm saying? So I grew up in the ghetto. I ain't gonna lie.
No, I was always the guy that talked too much, that always had, to go on a tangent and make that speech because someone would say something that is like, no, you have to understand, blah, blah, blah. In the next 10 minutes, and people just looking at him as like, Jerry talking again. There you go. There you go. Where did you come? And it probably happened with you. It's like, where you come up with that? Why you talk that way?
Yeah.
Because I'm not like, everybody else in the neighborhood. So like, where are you like that? I'm like, that's just, this is the way I am. This is the way my curiosity works.
Mm-hmm. And man, I just want to say once again, I had to cut your chat off, man. I got my chat open and your chat open. I'm enjoying the bill with you already, but I just wish that you didn't have so many negative spirits in your chat. But those people don't represent you, so I just appreciate you for having
no. That's the thing. And actually, it happens with everybody. There's always going to be people who don't. I try to tell people, I'm like, hey, take a signal from me, the way I treat people. But I can't make people, not go off on somebody. It's like that's their nature. It's not my nature to go off on people.
Let me ask you something though.
Yeah.
You're a little you older than me. I want to just get some.
I'm 50. Yeah, I'm going to be 51 this year.
And that's another reason I got mad respect for you, and I wouldn't dare want to debate you. You know what I'm saying? I can actually learn more from you having a dialogue. I mean, you've been around longer than me. But what I'm saying is, why do you think people lash out this way at flat earthers? Now, I know flat earthers do the same thing to globalists, and I can tell you why they do it. It's because when you come out and say the earth flat, people gonna bust out laughing. I mean, the flat earther is always on a defensive because we have the bizarre stance. I mean, that's just natural. And I don't say globalists are wrong for that. Hell, when I heard about flat earth, then nobody laughed harder than me, so I don't, fault them for it. But why do you think they continue to kind of like alienate flat earthers and kind of like you got people in your chat who don't even know me, and man, the way they talking to me in that chat, if we was in real life, we would fight. And damn.
Yeah, well, what's the saying? Because the internet.
Yeah, that's good.
It's like it's because the internet, man. There is power in anonymity. That it's like when people don't know it's you. You can say what you want. It's like being in a Halloween costume. You can go out in the street and you can just act wild because nobody knows it's you. And I think that actually kind of shows your true character when you do that. When nobody knows it's you, how do you act? And that shows who you are. So I am taken aback and I am frustrated by what I see. As to why, I can't say I know for sure because it's not in my nature to do that. It's it's not me. I do know there's like a frustration you get that I get when it seems like I'm just like talking to a wall. When someone says XYZ and I go, well, because ABC, and they go, but XYZ, and I go, because ABC, and they say, but XYZ, and I'm like, I just explained. And so there's a frustration that happens. I'm old enough and I've been, arguing and discussing with people long enough that I can kind of differentiate my emotions from the things I'm talking about and separate that. But some people can't. And they get that in them and they feel the need to lash out. And then you combine that with the power of the internet. It's the chains come off. It happens all the time. And you know that because, I get people coming at me and I'm like, I know for a fact you would never say that on camera to anybody. You just wouldn't say those words because then people would see you say it. And then and you would be shamed because those words came out of your mouth as a real person. You would never say it. And then they definitely wouldn't say it to you in person because they get hit in the face. And so, yeah, it's an amazing and frustrating, and I think it's kind of disappointing. I'm sure it is for you to see that people support you act this way because it's not you. Uh, and but as to why, yeah, I mean, if I had that answer, I'd write a book and make money off of it.
Hey, you're right, man. I guess I can pick your brain about some more stuff since we here, man. I'm enjoying this, and I just want to say I do got a newfound respect for you. And I didn't like you at first, GreaterSapien.
Well, why is that? Why is that? Why is that? Why is that? No, straight up, straight up. Why was that?
Man, so
I'll take
many
the
folks,
criticism.
a lot of folks was sending me your links like, bro, this dude, you need to debunk him. And I'll watch your videos, and bro, you just got this kind of this. Oh no, man, you got this heroic approach to your content, and let's just say you kick ass, bro. You kick ass.
Oh,
And I'm gonna tell you, oh yeah, you do. And I do agree with you about the a lot of what you were saying on the Flat Earth documentary, and that's something else I want to talk to you about. All flat earthers don't speak for like this. The flat Earth community is split up. We're currently being infiltrated by the Flat Earth Society, which is the government's version of the Flat Earth movement, and theirs is full of bull crap that I wouldn't blame globalists, laughing at us with some of the stuff they teach.
Real quick, I'm curious, because I've heard people say that about the Flat Earth Society. Is there, other than suspicions, what do you know about them that tells you that is what they are, that as opposed to them just being people who have a different approach to flat Earth? What tells you that they're government infiltrated?
Well, they are funded, and they operate under government influence and power. And the thing about the Flat Earth Society is they were the first society for the Flat Earth, and it wasn't made by the people. Now, you're a quote unquote black man. You understand how Black Lives Matter was said that it was for black people, but we found out that it was funded by some other folks, and it wasn't really for us and all that crap.
Yeah. See, now I have to hold up on that. Yeah, the fact that they get money from different places doesn't mean that the people who are leading it, I think the 3 black women that started it, were not actually, for what they said they were for. They got the funds from foundations. Is that you?
Yeah, my bad. Hold on, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah. I'm not gonna let anybody else in the room at the moment because I want to have this as a one-on-one right now. I think I got questions. .es is saying that this person wants to join, but right now I'm talking with Brother Sanchez. So until he comes back, right now he's dealing with the sound issue going on. But I'm talking with Brother Sanchez. This is actually the first time we've ever had a conversation, and I think it's good because I don't have any preconceived notions about him. I don't go around reviewing a lot of videos. People haven't been sending me his stuff, so I don't really know a whole lot. Every so often I see his name get dropped here and there. I don't have a negative impression of him, so I'm not coming in with a prejudice about this young man. He seems to be cool with me, and so I think it's kind of cool that it's kind of a cold conversation. It's just like 2 people meeting for the first time, literally meeting for the first time. We haven't argued offline. We haven't exchanged comments and disagreements. It's just us here for the first time. So hopefully he'll get his sound together and he'll be back. Let's see.
I'm still here. I had to mute because I had a car
yeah.
going on.
Oh yeah, I know. I was just kind of filling for time. So where were we at? What were we saying?
About Black Lives Matter.
Yeah. So I mean, it's off subject, but I thought that the fact that George Soros, one of his foundations, because he has foundations that puts out money all sorts of places. Since one of his foundations put money toward another organization that put money into the Black Lives Matter organization, does not mean that those people were not running things on their own.
Yeah, I agree with you. But the point was, a lot of the grassroots peoples at the bottom who was doing the protest wouldn't have been done if they known where a lot of the funding was coming from. And I know because I talked to a lot of these regular folks, RBG community and all them. But, you know, I was just bringing that up to make a point with that.
Right.
You know, that's an old tactic. Now, the Flat Earth Society they're not the grass earth flat earth movement. So I just wanted to make a clarification on that because we try our best to separate ourselves from them. And that documentary is influenced by the Flat Earth Society, not regular flat earthers, grassroots people. A lot of us looked at it and felt the same way you felt, man. So I just wanted to say that. But, you know, just to get to the point here about flat and globe, I would like to share some of the things with you that led to me becoming what you call a globe denier, because, man, I was a space enthusiast, you know.
Yes, please. And I'll try not to, because I know I have a tendency to pontificate and to start answering questions. So I'm going to try to let you express your ideas completely without hopping on you. You know, please, you know, I apologize for my tendency to hop in on people when that happens. So go ahead and give me some, let me know some of your thoughts.
Well, I'm just going to share some very basic,
make my screen
basic elementary flat earth arguments that led me away from the globe. And I'm not going to say that you're going to counter these arguments right here on this stream and convince me to go back to the globe. But what I'm going to say is I'm going to share some of these small arguments with you, and I'm going to listen to your response, and I'm going to be all ears because I don't know everything.
And right off the bat, neither do I. You know, that's the thing. I won't claim to know everything, and if I don't know something, that's not evidence either way. But go ahead.
Yeah, one thing that kind of stood out to me being a military man, and my auntie and uncle are both chiefs in the Navy, was the periscope. And I know for a fact that from off the surface of the water, like what you see here, that periscope can see a ship miles away. We're talking about miles away, whereas that ship should be hidden behind curvature. Because when we're standing up at the beach, that's what I was taught. We say, hey, what happened to the ship? Oh, it went over the Earth's curvature when it vanished, you know, on the horizon. But I never thought to myself, wow, when the ship vanishes, the periscope can zoom in and pick it back up, and it's not zooming in on a ball of curvature. It's picking the ship back up from the bottom up. It's not losing none of it. And
well, yeah, sorry. I mean, but the thing is I don't know that that's actually the case.
It's the case. It's the case. I studied this instrument being a military man, and I'm gonna tell you something. This right here, is definitely the case with a periscope. Otherwise, a lot of military Navy fleets would have vanished at sea, would have missed their targets and all of that stuff.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is I haven't seen any evidence at the case that they are seeing something that is further than they should be able to see, and that they're seeing the entire thing.
Well, if they saying a ship beyond 8 miles, then that go. See, according to spherical geometry, if the Earth is 24,000 miles in diameter, I thought that after 8 miles, things supposed to be hidden behind a curve. But these periscopes picking things up, man, 15, 20 miles, man, you name it.
Well, like I said, I don't know of any evidence that they're actually seeing full ships 15, 20 miles away from a low angle. Like that's the periscope that's what, 6 inches above the water.
That's the only that you're not going to find one that's higher than that. They all are 6 inches.
So I would like to see actual evidence of that other than someone's just kind of naked claim.
And I can understand that, but I'm just and seeing like I said.
But real quick, when it comes to the curvature, you know, you probably haven't noticed because you don't, you know, like go through all my chats and things like that. But I don't go through that whole curve calculator thing very often because that is just an estimate. That is just one of these. if the Earth was a perfect sphere and you were at exactly the radius of the Earth from the center of the Earth, this is what things would be like. But the fact is, no one ever is exactly at R. No, that's R is an average. No one. So in order to really truly calculate these things, what you should see, you'd have to know exactly how far you are away from the center of the Earth. You'd have to know exactly how far away the thing you're looking at is from the center of the Earth, and the terrain between you and that person, how far that is away from the center of the Earth, in order to figure out how much you should be hidden by. But you never know that. You say, well, it's at 16,000 feet. Well, that's above average sea level at the area that it's at. That's not actually R. So I don't use that because it's literally just like a general estimate. That's all it can be used for.
Yeah, I understand. You see, the thing with global is I noticed that some use it, some don't. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. Yeah, and like I said, it ain't a debate, so I can totally understand your where you coming from. And my thing here ain't to debunk the globe or prove flat earth or none of that. It's to share some arguments with you so that you can understand that the flat earth community ain't a bunch of morons who just said, man, I want to believe the earth flat and be laughed at today.
Well, yeah, and I don't know how many times you've heard me talk about it, but very rarely, except for certain people, do I ever say that flat earthers are morons. And generally, I think, because I have friends, I have one particular friend who actually does all the music that I deal with here, who's very conspiracy minded. He is smart as a whip. He is smart as anything. But I think oftentimes, and I can't say this is the case for you because I don't know you, people have too much confidence in their own thinking, and so they think if I thought of it, it must be right. And they're smart, and so they'll quickly go down an avenue of like, if this means that, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Okay, it's this. Bing, it must be right because I thought of it. And oftentimes I think, and like my son is this way. He's really good at math, but sometimes he processes things too fast, and he gets to the conclusion without doing all the necessary steps. And I go, back up. What'd you miss? And he has to slow down, back up, and take a look. But he's fast, so he just kind of trusts his intuition and goes to it. And I say, no, you got to slow down. And so oftentimes, I think when it comes to flat earthers, it's not that they're not intelligent. They're almost smarter than their own constraints, smarter than their own willingness to edit themselves. So they hop down a line of thought, and they get to a conclusion and they just assume it's right, as opposed to thinking it through more slowly. So it's not that they're stupid.
Can I speak from a flat earther? I'm gonna let you know something right now. I don't think, well, for myself, I don't see myself as thinking I'm too smart for my own good. Everything you just said is true, and that may be true for me in certain areas, but certainly not cosmology. I always humbled myself to learn about this. That's why I was a huge Neil deGrasse Tyson fan. But to make my point, what led me into flat earth wasn't it wasn't necessarily information that proved the earth is flat. It was information that proved that the earth wasn't round. And so by default, I became a flat earther. That's the thing I want to share with global, is whether you like me, don't like me, try to understand, it's the key, understanding each other. So the thing is, most people who are flat earthers, they defaulted to flat earth after saying that it wasn't enough evidence to continue to hold on to the globe. They just defaulted to flat earth because
I get that. And that's actually kind of why I say globe denier as opposed to flat earther, is because they're denying the existence of a globe more than promoting the existence of a flat earth. Like you said, you kind of defaulted to it.
Here's the thing.
And, and there are others who are more like, I'm going to prove it's flat earth. But a lot of people, they'll say, we don't have to have a model. We don't have to do this. You have to prove that. So that tells me that they're more about the denial of the globe than the support of the flat earth.
Well, here's the thing. This is why you shouldn't really go with the globe denial thing, if you ask me, because you know the Christians been doing that for years. They've been calling it the Christ deniers. You know, you can't deny the truth. The thing is this right here.
Yeah, you can.
What? No,
People do it all the time.
But check this out, though. If someone go out there and say the sky green, that's on them. But hey, man, certain things are so universal they can't be denied. And when it comes to the shape of the earth, there's room for reasonable doubt because none of us never been to space. We're believing astronauts. Now, when you say that we're globe deniers, we have reasons for denying the globe. Like I said, we've done the research to see that there's not enough substantial evidence to support a globe. And furthermore, we keep calling it a globe when it's now an oblate spheroid or something like a pear. It changes a lot. So
actually, no, no, it doesn't. Sorry, but the idea of it being a oblate spheroid was discovered back in 1959, I believe.
What was it before that, though?
Well, people just kind of assumed it was spherical. And it wasn't until we were able to put satellites in space and actually bounce like radar off the Earth and start getting feedback and measurements where they said, oh,
it's not a perfect sphere.
It's not a perfect sphere. It's like,
okay,
hold
so
on, wait. It's close enough that you wouldn't be able to tell if you looked at. I mean, I don't know if you've seen some of my videos where I've drawn oblate spheroids that are proportionally the same size as the Earth is. You can't tell the difference.
What?
Yeah, you can't tell the difference. Here,
I can pull up. Okay, am I still screen sharing?
Yeah, you are, and I'll prepare to do a screen share.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull up something real quick. Can you see? What are you actually?
I see a thing about globetard logic that is funny because it actually has a typo in the thing where it's calling other people stupid.
Yeah, this right here is just some. I don't really paying attention to the bottom part. I don't really like all the name calling, so we'll ignore that. I don't really encourage flat earthers to put. If you're gonna make a meme to the flat earthers listening, just put the facts and leave the name calling out so that when we share these, it ain't all offensive. But yeah, we'll just pay attention to the top part. You're right, man. If you want to call that out, whoever did that, I don't condone it. But the top half is what I wanted to point out before I pull up the oblate spheroid.
Yeah.
I wanted you to answer this for me because, like I said, I don't know everything, but I know if we're on a ball Earth of any kind of globular shape, that submarine will have to tilt its nose down and keep from popping back out of the surface of the water.
Well, and this is something I don't know. I don't know how submarines are entirely built, the entire mechanism. There's like the simplistic idea of the submarine, which is like, okay, it's like a toy with something to keep it buoyant, and it does this. But I would assume, and like I said, I'm saying the word assume because I actually don't know this. I'm not an engineer of this type of thing, that submarines have leveling mechanisms in them.
Okay, can I
that will keep them gravitationally level, just like planes, have them in their gyroscopes. So I would assume, since they've been doing things for a long time, in all likelihood, there is, and someone in the chat will probably copy and paste like some treatise about GreaterSapien, you should be telling him this. But since this is not my area of expertise, but I do know how other things work, that there is a mechanism within probably its gyroscopic system that keeps it gravitationally level.
It's not. And there's nothing in the plane to do that neither. And I'm not dealing with assumptions.
No, there is actually.
Okay, well, you have to take that up with the pilot that was interviewed.
Because here's the thing, the gyroscope, the whole concept of a gyroscope, that does things, right? It keeps you. The pilot doesn't keep it level. It keeps it in line with the artificial horizon, right? That's what the pilot does. He keeps it in line with the artificial horizon. That's got a gyroscope in it. That gyroscope has a mechanism that knows which way's up and which way's down, and it adjusts itself to stay level gravitationally. There, you can actually crack those suckers open and see the little veins inside. Veins, V-A-N-E-S.
What I'm telling you is
So
that
I'm just saying, they do exist in there. And in fact, you can go to Wolfie. He cracked those things open and actually showed them working by tilting the gyroscope and watching the veins open.
I'm not denying that, but what I'm telling you is what the gyroscope does and don't do. The gyroscope does not automatically tilt the nose of the plane.
But we built no. But what happens is the gyroscope tilts itself, and the pilot is constantly keeping he's keeping the plane in line with the gyroscope. That's all he's doing. He's staying in line with the gyroscope. If he goes up a little bit, he goes, oh, I better nose down to get with the gyroscope. If he goes a little bit, oh, I better tilt this way to go with the gyroscope. The gyroscope is staying in line with the Earth. The pilot's staying in line with the gyroscope. He's not thinking about staying in line with the Earth. He's just staying in line with the gyroscope.
Yeah, but the thing that I'm telling you is the gyroscope. In other words, what I'm trying to tell you, I'm not denying the function of the gyroscope. What I'm denying is that it's functioning in that way because it's tilting for curvature. That's what I'm saying.
It's not even thinking about the whole thing. It's not even thinking about curvature. It's just keeping itself.
But see, I'm not saying it think because it's an instrument. It don't have a brain. What I'm saying is there is no curvature for it to think about. In the same sense of the submarine, it don't have to adjust for nothing that's not there.
So hold on a second. But the thing is, there is a mechanism. There is. You can hold on a second. You can crack them open and see it work. There are videos online where you can hold on, bro. You can watch them tilt the gyroscope.
I agree.
Watch the veins open up and reorient them to be gravitational level. They exist. So gyroscopes are made to adjust to the Earth. They are. When you say, I'm not saying they're denying it, I'm just saying they don't do that. That's denying it.
No, bro. See, here's the thing. You saying that a submarine has a gyroscope that adjusts to the Earth's curvature to keep it from coming out of the water. But at the same time, the periscope can still see the ship beyond the curvature that you're claiming.
Actually, I'm not saying that at all. You're saying that it can do that. Remember, I said I don't know evidence of it actually being able to see things that far. So
I'm telling you that
you're combining your claim.
Okay, well, you don't know. Well, here's the thing. You're saying you don't know, and I'm showing up telling you I know how periscopes work, and I know how far they can see. I'm not coming with assumptions,
But the thing is, I don't know that you actually know what you know this. I don't know that you actually know what you're talking about.
And I agree with you. You don't know. That's why this is not a debate, my brother. So I'm enjoying this, and I'm just supposed to be sharing you a couple of arguments that led me away from the globe, led me to say, hey, there's a lot to deal with here. And for the simple fact that, when we deal with this whole submarine thing with this curved water idea that we're looking at here, what we also got to pay attention to is the fact that lighthouses, you see, lighthouses can be picked up beyond 8 miles.
Because light kind of bounces around. It's the light from the lighthouse can be picked up.
No, I didn't say that. I said the lighthouse can be picked up by that. And listen, you can go and do this yourself.
More than 8 miles? Of course, more than 8 miles. Those things are tall.
But you can see the bottom of it. You shouldn't see the bottom of it, because the bottom should be hidden by some degree. Like if you look at this image on the screen, you see how the water is curved.
Yeah, which is incredibly exaggerated.
Yeah, of course, because we're doing a small scale, so it's you want to exaggerate it purposely so we can get a small scale view of, ocean's big, of course, So we get this small scale view. Now let's say that a lighthouse is on this side of the curve. We're on this side of the curve. I should not be able to pick up the bottom of the lighthouse. I can see picking up the top that's not hidden by the curve, but when you pick up the bottom from over here, that's a problem.
I don't know what lighthouse you're looking at, but I have never been down on water level, looking at a lighthouse that's at water level, and seen the bottom of a lighthouse. Lighthouses tend to be started on cliffs that are above water level. They tend to be built higher than like the base of the water, so they're already starting off a certain number of meters high. The bases are a certain, and people who are observing, especially in boats, are usually a number of meters high when seeing them. It's not like someone's sitting down, laying on the edge of the beach with their head to the side, looking at a lighthouse that's parked on the beach 8 miles away. That's not how they're constructed. So you can say that you shouldn't be able to see the bottom of it. I just don't know what lighthouse you're looking at when you say that.
Okay, cool, man. I'll just be uploading videos.
No, that's cool.
To address the lighthouse and showing what I'm saying here, since I see that a lot of globalists ain't aware of that. No problem. But like I said, this ain't a debate. I'm just kind of throwing some simple stuff out there for you.
No problem.
Another thing that got me was like gravity being this force that's, when you talk about the waters in the ocean, that's some heavy stuff. Just a gallon of water is pretty heavy, talking about the ocean waters, and we talked that gravity is responsible for why the ocean water don't fly off into space. The gravitation.
It's also why we don't fly off into space and why birds don't fly off into space.
Okay. So gravity is pretty strong. We can say if it's holding in all of the fucking waters of the ocean.
Gravity can be pretty strong.
No, I would. If I saw a man holding back all the waters in the ocean, I wouldn't look at him and say, well, he can be pretty strong. I'll say that's a strong dude right there.
Yes, but that dude, when he picks up an egg, does he automatically crush it?
No, but he's still strong though.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. He can execute great strength, or he cannot execute great strength. Gravity is the same way. Gravity is the same way.
Hold on. He can execute great strength, or he cannot. But all the time, he's still strong.
Right.
So my thing is, when we look at the ocean water being held to the earth, unless it fly off into space one day, gravity is always being strong enough to hold that water
on that water. Yes.
Cool. Yeah. So it's very consistent, because I never saw the ocean water fly into space.
But it's consistent. It's consistent to a formula. There, you've probably seen the gravitational equation.
No, I want you to break it down. Can you tell it to us and break it down instead of just saying that? Because I'm just trying to get it.
Hold on one second.
It's easy to just say, you can show me a bunch of numbers, but I'm just trying to think about some here, like going outside, some tangible.
Hold on, I'm trying to sign into my Adobe Creative Cloud. For some reason, I'm signing. I want to do something in Illustrator, so I'm kind of doing two things at once, and for the life of me, I cannot remember this.
No doubt.
So keep talking while I try to do this thing.
I got you. Now, while you do that, the question is, see, because it's very simple what I'm saying here. I'm actually trying to put your force on a pedestal, but you won't let me. You're pulling something up. I'm trying to give gravity props right now. I'm saying gravity is consistently strong. If the ocean water never left this earth, it ain't never let go of it and don't plan on doing it. Can we agree with that? That gravity is strong as hell to be consistently doing that. Correct?
Gravity consistently acts within the laws that it.
That ain't the question. Man. I'm just a simple question. I'm just trying to see, wouldn't you agree? I'm not doing a trick question, and then I'm just saying,
it's consistent
with me that's pretty strong, though. Just on some real
pretty strong. Yep, that is pretty strong.
Now listen, gravity has a tight grip on all of that water, and it's had listen, I'm going somewhere with this, and I'm gonna mute my mic because I see you're gonna pull some up, and I want to be all ears and give you my full attention. So gravity has a consistent pull on all the waters of the ocean, but it continues to let the bubbles in the water just go up to the top. So, I mean, I wanted you to explain that, because we both agree that it's very consistent. It ain't letting them waters go, but it'll let them bubbles go. Okay. And I want to know why it's so selective. Does gravity have a conscience? Does it know, well, I'm going to grab this and I'm going to let that go? Is it some kind of force with a sentient conscience like me? Because like when you talked about the dude with the egg, he know not to squeeze the egg and break it.
Hold on a second.
See, by him being a human, he can control how much force he exert on the object. What I want to know is, does gravity have that human-like attribute to it that it can just...
No, let's see. G, hold on a second. MM, and then I'm gonna.
Okay, I'm gonna wait on. I'll re-answer that. I'll re-ask it to you when you.
Oh no, I know. I know exactly what you're saying. are.
Yeah, because them bubbles just be floating up, and I'll be like, damn, it's strong. It's consistently holding that water, man. The bubbles lighter than the water. It just let them go. Like, is gravity think like me? Because I know that how much I know, don't break my egg if I squeeze it too hard, but I got that kind of control. But if gravity got that, then that's a human like tribute, that's kind of crazy.
Real quick here. It's right. Let me go to my screen share. Okay, so share that. Okay, so this should not be divided all the way across right here. Okay, so the force of gravity. This is how gravity works.
Okay, let me stop my screen share. You sharing right now? Okay,
yeah, I'm sharing right now. Okay, there we go. Let me. Yeah. So the force of gravity is equal to gravitational constant, which is something that they came up with. I'm not exactly sure all the different measurements that were done with that. The mass of one object, we'll call it the big M, the mass of the other object, the little m, divided that by the radius, the distance between them squared. Okay, so which means when, let me see, when, say, the objects are bigger, the gravity between them gets bigger. The force of gravity between them gets bigger, right? So M and M gets big, big. Then F gets big. Can you see that? Can you picture that? Can you hear me? I'm not hearing you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, cool.
My mic was muted. I hear you.
Okay, cool. But does that make sense to you? So if M gets bigger and these two M's get bigger, if the masses get bigger, then this F gets bigger. That makes sense to you?
I want you to just kind of go a little bit more, maybe.
Okay. Yeah. So and then so what happens is something like a bubble. There's not a lot of force acting on that bubble because the bubble's mass is small.
Mm-hmm.
The mass of the Earth is the same in all situations. In this case, right? The mass of the Earth, the big M, that's the mass of the Earth. So the force on that bubble, that this M is tiny.
So in other words,
so
can I ask you a question, teacher? So you're saying that if an object is small, gravity acts small upon it. If an object is big, gravity acts big upon it.
Yes.
And so in that case, we can go ahead and conclude that our objects with greater mass have an effect on objects with smaller mass.
But if both objects don't have particularly big mass, there's not going to be, F isn't going to be that big.
Like if you got some as big like the Earth, it's going to have the moon orbiting around it with the globe model.
Or a person, or a person holding to it. But if you have a person, which is if you have two objects that are, say, a person and an egg, the person's M isn't that big. And the egg's M isn't that big. So the gravity between them is not that much.
Okay, so you're saying that we can't reduplicate this on Earth per se, like how you would have a big, massive object like the Earth influencing a smaller object like the moon, according to your equation.
Well, the hard thing about doing it on the Earth is no matter what you do on the Earth is still there. Another big M affecting everything. It's like being at a concert and trying to talk on the phone. You can't hear that person on the phone because the concert is so damn loud. So that's what it's like when you're trying to do a gravitational experiment like this on the Earth. You got this little phone, and your little voice, and you're trying to have this conversation in the middle of this loud ass concert. It's like, it's not working. It's getting overpowered.
I totally get it, because you're saying the Earth gravitational pull just too powerful for you to do this, right?
To do this here. Now, things like mountains, so things like mountains and things like that, there is noticeable change. Not much, but it's noticeable for instruments. Not enough for me to notice because, I'm just a stupid human with really bad, sense of feel.
So with this equation, basically, we can conclude that if I got bigger than the Earth, then the Earth would start orbiting bro Sanchez, huh?
Well, yeah, more massive than the Earth, yes.
So my thing is this right here. With this,
and you were close enough.
Okay, cool. Now,
But
so
I don't want to ignore that one question of yours though, which was about the bubbles.
yeah, you already answered it. You
Well, except for there's this one thing here. So let's say this is your bubble, and let's call this. Let's make this water. All right, let's call that water. Send that to the back. So you have your bubble, and there's force on here, you know, and there's a certain amount of mass in here. It's not much mass because it's mostly air, and it's being pulled by gravity to a certain degree. But you also have all this water here, which is coming. Can you see my mouse? Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Which is being drawn down, and it comes down and pushes under this as it comes down.
Hold on. You saying the water from the surface is coming down, pushing
the water from the
surface?
The water from the surface is being pulled down in general. Yes. And so what happens is there's forces, pressure in all directions. There's force coming down here. There's force coming in here. There's force coming in here. Just because that's how pressure works. And the fact that there's pressure coming in from the side here, that's more than the mass of this object here. It pushes this up as it comes under and pushes that up. So it's not that it's letting it escape. It's that the water is coming under and pushing it up.
That's
what buoyancy is. That's literally what buoyancy is.
You know, and listen, man, that I never had buoyancy explained like that, but listen, I'm here to learn. And let me just ask the question. So gravity is not present when buoyant force is present?
Oh no, it is. No, the buoyancy force, if you look at I don't have the buoyancy equation, someone probably would put it in the chat, but the buoyancy equation contains gravity in it. It's like the volume, the density of the first object, the density of the second object, plus, and multiplied times the gravitational force G. Gravity is in there.
Well, here's the thing. I'm trying to get you to do to simplify. When Neil deGrasse Tyson drops a mic and says that is gravity. Okay. Now listen. When he dropped the mic and say that's gravity, when Brother Sanchez point at a bubble raising, we say that is what?
You can say that's buoyancy.
So buoyancy is make things float and gravity make things fall.
Well, buoyancy is gravity's inside buoyancy.
Okay, so you
can't have buoyancy without gravity, which is seen when you're in free fall. Whether or not you believe space exists. Let's say you get on one of those vomit comets, one of those planes that can simulate free fall. You get in it, you get that 0G action. That type of plane, right?
Mm-hmm.
People get in it and it flies on an arc and people are weightless for a while. Those things.
Yeah, I got you. I know about the 0G. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in there, buoyancy stops happening. Hot air balloon, helium balloons, they don't fly up to the ceiling. Water bubbles, they don't fly up because everything is, moving, accelerating down. Everything's falling at the same rate. So there's no gravity has basically been negated. And so there's no buoyancy in there. Hot air balloons don't go up because there's the air is not being pulled down by gravity to push under the hot air balloon, helium balloon, and push it up. That's evidence that it's, it's gravity in there. Because when you negate gravity, buoyancy disappears.
Wow. So buoyancy is not ever present force acting upon the elements.
Oh, there's buoyancy is a part of everything is there as well. As long as you have more than one medium, but buoyancy is a modification. It has to do with the medium that it's in. Like there's a certain amount of buoyancy on me right now in this room. It's just not much because air is so not dense at all. So it doesn't really have much effect, but it's technically there. It's just not strong enough to do anything to me.
When you say that buoyant force is responsible for things floating and gravity is responsible for things falling, you did a good job. I would say a pretty good job of explaining the buoyant force in the water. It was a unique way of doing it. But can you explain the buoyant force at work in the air when it comes to the helium balloon?
It's literally the same thing.
Same thing apply.
It's literally the same thing.
So when you say that buoyancy is included in gravity,
Gravity's included in buoyancy.
Okay, yeah. When you say gravity is included, hold on. Wouldn't it be the other way around though? Something in my mind want to make it the other way around.
Technically, you could be in the depths of space, whether or not you believe in space. You could be in an utter vacuum, in a vacuum chamber, thus not have any buoyancy to deal with, but you still have gravity, right? That's the thing. That's what I mean by you don't need to have, so you can now every day, of course, there's always buoyancy around every day. But when it comes to the laws of physics, gravity, can exist without buoyancy, because like I said, you can be in a complete vacuum and not worry about that. Yet you can't have buoyancy without gravity.
You said earlier about it, how even gravity responsible for keeping birds, stuck to the earth. But wouldn't it kind of, when you say gravity is pulling a bird to the earth, keeping it stuck to the earth, wouldn't a bird have to, would a bird be independent, have independent flight if that was true? Like, was something as small as a butterfly be able to have, because you're saying that, well, gravity is not pulling that hard on a butterfly because it's small. But see,
that comes back to this. Yeah.
Equation. Yeah. And see, without you putting the equation up, that was my point earlier when I said gravity is like me. It's kind of a scary force because it knows how much force to exert on each shit. That's a human attribute. No other force in nature does that.
Knows is putting an attribute to it. But yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, because my thing is, I think that's why gravity is a theory. Because think about this: when you look at wind don't care if you're a grown man, a little baby, it's gonna blow on you with equal force. And depending on your strength, it's gonna knock your ass over. It don't care if you're a baby. It don't say, well, that's a baby. Don't blow the baby over. When a volcano erupt, if a child in the way, it's gonna get burnt up. I don't see no other force of nature that's just selective and says,
to that. Okay, go ahead.
Well, what I'm saying is, how you say, like we said, gravity knows, okay, I'm gonna be strong as hell and keep all this ocean water put to the earth, but I'm gonna let the butterfly go do what it does. That to me is a human-like attribute. That's a sentient being, almost like, So yeah, I wanted you go ahead.
Okay, so yeah, some reason I just reinstalled this thing, so it's being stupid. But say we have two objects that are the same mass, but one is this size, the cross section is this size, and one is big. That wind that you're saying is going to knock things over, it will knock this one over easier than it knocks this one over, because wind, the kind of force when it comes to wind, the amount of push it puts on an object, it notices, well, it doesn't notice, but it's affected by the surface area that it's blowing on. So it's a similar type of thing. The larger the surface area, even though the mass is the same, the more effective force gets put on something. The smaller the surface area, say this low profile, it's kind of like when you're walking down the street and the wind's blowing, you kind of turn to the side and let your shoulder hit, and you don't get knocked over as much. But if you turn front, boom, it just knocks you back, because depending on the surface area in front of you that the force is going up against, it either pushes you more or less.
I got a question with you saying that. Does the wind discriminate? It's going to do that for all sizes. If a child turns forward, it's going to knock the child back just like the big adult. So it's going to be equal force exerted on each object, unlike gravity.
According to the surface that it's hitting, though.
But the surface isn't the argument here. It's the force exerted.
But it's the force exerted depends on the surface of the object, just like the force exerted on when it comes to gravity depends on the mass of the object. So you can have a kid not get knocked over by the winds, because say the wind is pushing at 2 pounds per square inch or whatever.
Yeah, listen, here's my
So the
thing.
kid doesn't get pushed over because he's short and squat, but the person who's wide gets knocked over. The grown-up.
I get your argument, but it still don't change the fact that the wind is blowing at equal force. I don't care how they move their body; it don't change the exertion of the force that the wind have on them. You can manipulate your body to not absorb that force, but it's still there, equal on those objects, unlike gravity.
No, gravity exerts the force in direct proportion to the mass involved. It's a different rule.
Just went over that. You're saying it in a different way now.
But it's a different rule, but it's still doing the same thing. It has its laws that govern it, and force and wind force has its laws.
All right.
Okay, let me get to Oblate spheroid.
Okay,
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm still confused with your equation there because I'm trying to simplify it and put it into reality. I get that if the wind blowing, I can turn sideways to escape some of that force. Yeah, you're right. But it's not going to change the fact that that force is there. You know, I had to manipulate my body, but it didn't change the exertion of force that the wind had on me. What I'm saying with gravity, you said gravity does discriminate with how much force it exerts on an object based upon how large the object is.
But you did change the amount of force exerted on your body. You did.
No, what I said that, listen, you're not hearing me. I didn't change the amount of force that the wind exerted on my body. I manipulated my body to not absorb the force. See, if I turn, hold up, listen, let me just say this. If I turn my body forward, I'm absorb all that wind force. But if I turn my body sideways, I'm not going to absorb that much because my body is only exposing a slither to the grain of which way the wind is blowing.
Right.
So I totally get what you're saying. Right. What I'm saying is what I do with my body don't change the amount of force that the wind exerting. If I turn my body, it ain't gonna make the wind say, well, I'm gonna blow less because he turned. I'm just absorbing less of it.
Okay, I get that.
All right, this is totally different than gravity.
Yeah, it is. Gravity is a different thing.
Yes, what I'm pointing out, man, is like nothing else.
It's very much like magnetism.
Let's just say it's like gravity because it's nothing like gravity. Real talking.
I can argue that people who are perfectly fine with how magnetism works know nothing more about how magnetism works than they know about gravity. But gravity doesn't fit the view that flat earthers want. I don't know why, but it doesn't fit within their world, so they're not willing to accept it. But magnetism.
Hold on, wait. Let me speak for flat earthers. There are actually flat earthers that still believe in gravity, believe it or not. They're concavers and sail earthers. They still have gravity. So don't put us all in a bucket there. And not all of us speak about magnetism. That's just me. And I can tell you from my research, it's nothing like gravity,
Yeah, physicists, I know they're not the same. I'm talking about the understanding that people have of it, physicists. I understand they are not the same.
Now, I do agree with you on that whole, the understanding that people have of them.
And that was directed to a chat person named Physicist. That's what I was responding to there.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Yeah, they are not the same, though. Okay, so can we talk about Oblate spheroid?
Yeah, okay. Go ahead.
You have to excuse me. Let's see here. I'm going to do a quick. Why are you not? All right, so. Okay, this is a circle right there, and let me move that over there. Let me get rid of that. I'm going to give it a depth. Oh, look at that. I made a perfect 360 by 360 circle. Look at that. Now, according to the general measurements that we know, and this is not going to be perfect. Let's see. It's about there. So this one here is an oblate spheroid. Oblate, if I made it into a circle, if I made it into a sphere, it would be oblate. And this one here is a perfect circle. You can see over here. Can you see this over here? Yeah. This one here is 363 pixels wide. And this one 360 pixels tall. While this one is 360 pixels wide and 360. So this is perfect, while this one is, a hair wider. This is literally what they mean when they say the Earth is an oblate spheroid.
Can I share some? Can I share some with you?
Does that make sense?
It don't make sense. Want me to tell you why? Because when you talk about a circle is 360 degrees, but it's not only 360 degrees. See, anything in a range of, I would say, anywhere from 330 degrees to 360 can be considered still a circle. And it may be a imperfect circle. That's the thing. Is it a perfect circle? Because that's 360 degrees. If I tell my daughter to draw a circle, she'll draw a circle, but it ain't gonna be perfect. It ain't gonna be the perfect 360. But if I tell her to draw an oblate spheroid, that ain't gonna be perfect either. See, there's a perfect degree for the oblate spheroid, but if I tell you to draw it, you won't be able to get it perfect because we humans. My thing is, technically what you just created there is still a sphere. You didn't bend it enough for it to become oblate yet.
No. Well, I'm sorry. That's just wrong. Sphere has to be perfect.
It's still in a sphere family. Yeah.
It's in this. They're both in the spheroid family. That's the thing. A sphere is a perfect spheroid.
Oh, well, listen. Here's the thing, man. We know we got pictures of Earth as a perfect sphere. You saying that, well, it's not perfect. It looks perfect, but it's like 359. It ain't 360 degrees. It's like 358, 355. Because that's what you're doing in your drawing.
Right.
You're taking like 1 degree, making it like 359 degrees. What I'm saying, you're not subtracting enough degrees to consider it.
No. Who are you to say that?
Because I'm going to show you right now. This is a rule in sacred geometry. I study sacred geometry. I'm going to show you. I'm going to screen share.
Okay, but right off the bat, understand that sacred geometry means nothing to me.
Okay, well, brother, you asked the question.
But in terms of evidence.
Well, listen, I'm just telling you in terms of artists. If you was taking an art class.
I am an artist. I am a professional illustrator.
Brother, Masterpiece be on this channel all the time doing live paintings. Him too, he is too. What I'm telling you is there's a reason we specify shapes. If you're going to draw that's what you just did, 359 degrees, and say that's an oblate spheroid, it doesn't vary enough from a sphere to enter the oblate family when you deal with shapes. And this is not, I said
scientifically, you may not say artistically, but scientifically it does.
No, brother, not even scientifically. You got 1 degree ain't enough to change it from a sphere. I'm just giving you a fact. Hold on.
No, you're not. You're giving me an opinion.
No, I'm
because
not.
The fact is, hold on. What is the definition of a sphere?
Hold on. Here's the thing. Let's talk about it. You said we was going to talk about an oblate spheroid. Let's check it out. All right. Here go to what you was doing. Somebody got a little image up right here. Let's check it out, right? So they asking which one of these is the oblate spheroid. You would never be able to distinguish unless you make it more oblate. That's all I'm saying. Now you can say here's the thing, because I'm not totally disagreeing with you. What I'm saying is you making a circle that's 359 degrees is not making it an oblate spheroid. It's just turning it from a sphere into a spheroid, but it hasn't reached oblateness yet. I agree with you that it's not.
What is the definition of oblateness?
You're looking at it to make
no. The definition of oblateness is not something you look at, it's something you say. What is the definition of oblateness?
Definition as well as you looking at it, because you got to give the visual and the words. First of all, the word oblate or OBL comes from the word oval. Oblate was ovlet. Ovlet is oblate. So anything that's oval shaped is oval shaped. The V and the B was interchangeable at one point. So oval is oval or oblate. So once a sphere starts to become oval or oblate, it's now an oblate spheroid and is no longer a spheroid. So here's the thing.
No longer a sphere. Gotcha. So I have a question to add to that, though. You said once a sphere starts to become oblate. Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to give you.
My question to you is, when does it start to become oblate?
That's what I was trying to answer you before you cut me off. I wasn't gonna let you down, brother. I ain't leaving no stone unturned. just let me rock it. I got you. Here's the thing. There are formulas, because you like formulas. And I'm gonna tell you this right now, see, because we both can learn something from each other. Go and look up the formula, because I can't really teach this formula, but this is the formula of it. Let me say, that's different formulas or different equations with people showing you the difference between oblate and spirit. Now there is a difference. That's why we distinguish them. But you're asking me where is the threshold where we leave it. I'm gonna give it to you. 360 degrees is a perfect sphere.
Well, first, sorry, real quick. It's not about 360 degrees.
I'm going somewhere.
Okay, just so you know, you keep talking about degrees. It's not about 360 degrees, because you're going to get 360 degrees. You're going to get all sorts of degrees whenever you're doing measurements of angles within a spheroid, no matter what.
The reason
it's about the dimensions in terms of radius and distance and circumference and things like that. That's what it is about. You keep saying degrees, but it's not about degrees.
Yeah, but see, you're missing my point. You're cutting me off to say stuff that's irrelevant to the point I'm trying to make. I ain't bringing up degrees so that you just know I'm talking about a sphere. I'm not trying to circle jerk here with you. I'm trying to make a simple point and pass the mic, bro. I totally get what you're saying. You didn't have to cut me off to say that. You're right. It's not about degrees. I'm mentioning degrees so you can mentally walk with me when I take you from a perfect sphere to an oblate. I'm using degrees because that's the form of measurement I choose to use.
And I'm just saying it's the wrong form. That's all. That's all I'm saying. It's the wrong form of measurement.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Is a sphere 360 degrees?
Yes, actually.
Okay, now,
hold on. Wait. If you cut a,
I ain't talking about it.
That's how you measure it. If you cut a sphere through the center, you get a cross section of a circle that's 360 degrees.
It's a simple question. I mean, is a sphere 360 degrees? Yes or no?
Which way? Because you can only measure degrees along one axis. See, this is what I'm saying. You're asking the wrong question.
Here's the thing, brother. A sphere is 360 degrees even on all sides. So when you say which way, that baffles me. Like,
there you go. No, that's the thing. No, you're perfect. That was good. That was good. Now that you said that, that's good.
I can't even talk. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying that was good. What you said there. That was a great addition to what you said.
I don't know where this is going, man. I'm just trying to be simple, and I'm not really. This is like it's kind of.
I don't mean to frustrate you. Continue. This is what I said about check me if I'm interrupting you.
No, you're fine. You're fine. It's just that I'm just struggling to reach a point here. I'm not trying to get into the side arguments. Like, it's simple. It's a yes or no question for me to get to somewhere else. You ain't teaching me nothing I don't know. The reason I'm saying 360 degrees is because a sphere is 360 degrees, and that's how I choose to specify it when I talk. And I'm not lying when I do that. There's nothing wrong about that. You know what I'm saying? If I weigh 150 pounds and somebody say, bring your 150-pound ass over here, sexy, I'm not going to argue and say, hey, no, I'm technically, my radius is this. Hey, man, I'm 150. A sphere is 360 degrees, period. I'm going somewhere with this, all right? And
okay,
you're right. Where I'm going has nothing to do about the degrees of a sphere, because the question is, when does a sphere become an oblate sphere?
Yes.
I'm using degrees to distinguish that, and that's perfectly fine. So check this out. A sphere, like we said, is 360 degrees. When you take a degree like you did and make it 359, it's still a sphere. It's just not a perfect sphere. Now, if I draw a sphere on paper, it's not going to be 360, but I'm still going to have me a perfect, it's still going to be a sphere. If I draw the alphabet A on paper, it's not going to be a perfect A like what a computer would print, but it's still an A. So we're going to always be varying a few degrees, 10 degrees, give or take. So you got to go way more than 1 degree to now say that this is oblate. You still in the sphere family. So there are many people that deal with this kind of stuff, and they'll tell you, you know, science got their own numbers technically when it becomes an oblate or when it's no longer a sphere. But I'm telling you right now, 1 degree ain't enough to take it away from being, to make it oblate. So what I was agreeing with you is that you're right. Once you take a degree from that 360, is no longer a sphere. It's a spheroid, meaning it ain't a sphere, meaning a perfect 360. Anything that appears to be a sphere but not a perfect 360 is spheroidal. Now, once you start smushing a sphere from the top and bottom and you pass a certain threshold, scientists now say that's now an oblate spheroid. Once it crosses a certain threshold of that squashing, they say, okay, it's no longer a sphere, it's no longer a spheroid, it's now an oblate spheroid. And you can keep pressing, and if you keep going from an oblate spheroid, you are flattening out to a dielectric inertial plane. This the same thing happened when people making pizza, and they start off with a ball and they keep spinning and it flattens out.
So can I do mine now?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. So I understand exactly what you said, and I agree with most of it, except for one thing. The moment it is no longer a perfect sphere and you start to squash the top, the instant it is not the exact same top to bottom as it is, you know, crossways, it becomes oblate.
I agree with that. I totally agree.
So, given what you said, you disagreed with that. That becomes oblate. And the second is not a perfect sphere; it is a spheroid. Now, since you've made it oblate just by the little bit of moving it, and you're no longer a perfect sphere, you're now a spheroid. You have made it into an oblate spheroid. That's what you literally just walked down the definition of oblate spheroid. The second you start to squish it, it becomes oblate. The second it's not a perfect sphere anymore, it's a spheroid. It's just a spheroid, not perfect. So once you flatten it, it becomes an oblate spheroid. So this second object that I showed you is an oblate.
Hold on, let me get my screen share. Show me the second object. We're agreeing on this. Show me that second object again. See, one thing that I must didn't hear you when you said once you squeeze it from the top and bottom, it becomes oblate. I agree with you, but that's not what you did. You just took off a degree and you said, "Hey,
no." Oh, okay. Sorry. See, I understand where the issue is. I think I understand exactly what issue is.
Yeah, if you would have squeezed it from the top and bottom, I would have said, "Yeah, brother, that's oblate." But you didn't do that. You just took off a degree.
No, actually, I think it was just a coincidence of numbers. This happens to be, I just happened to draw a circle that was 360 pixels wide. I just happened to do it. Just by luck, I made a circle that was 360 pixels wide. So I'm going to make this.
We in agreement though about, I totally agree with you. So once you start smushing it from the top and bottom, you start to create.
So this is a circle that's 300 pixels wide, 300 points wide. This one is same. It's still 300 points wide. I'm going to squish it by changing the height on it over here. That's the height. I'm going to squish it by changing the height on it to 297. Now, this one on the right is oblate. This one on the left is perfect. Oblate, perfect. Just looking at it, you can't tell.
Now listen, here's the thing I have with that. Listen, even though you smushed it from the top and bottom, it still don't make it oblate because it haven't passed the threshold. And now that's why I told you to go look up this, because I didn't make this up. Science treat. See, here's the thing. Here's the thing. If I hold a beach ball in my hand and I apply enough force to the top and bottom to turn it from 360 degrees to 358 because I took a degree from the top and bottom, I still didn't take enough amount of degrees from the top and bottom to reach that threshold for them to call it oblate yet. Now that's just what now listen, I'm gonna tell you something, GreaterSapien. I'm not saying.
By the way, just call me Jerry. I'm Jerry.
Oh yeah, sorry, Jerry. I'm gonna tell you something. Thank you, Jerry. I'm gonna tell you something. I'm not saying I'm right about that because this is one of those things where, yep, I'm Googling and I'm listening to other people and different scientists, how they specify shapes. Not all of them are grease, but I'm just sharing that a lot of folks say is not oblate till it reach beyond a certain threshold. And the reason for that is we have to be able to distinguish the shapes. If we start calling a sphere like what you said oblate, we want to know what's oblate. So they have to make a threshold. Okay, now it's oblate at this point now, and it's no longer a sphere. So that's why earlier I was agreeing when we went from sphere to spheroid to oblate.
Right. And there's difference between like what you were saying before, which is artistic, which is an aesthetic thing, what looks oblate to us. And that is something that is completely different than the mathematical geometric classifications of what these things are. They are very different things. If I drew that and I came up to, my teacher said, oh, draw an oblate spheroid, or something. And I said, okay, I drew this thing. She'd like, go back and draw an oblate spheroid, because you can't tell it's oblate artistically. So when it comes to the artistic looking at an aesthetic looking of something, that doesn't look oblate. But that's not the point. That's not what they're saying. They're not saying it looks like this, extremely oblate thing. They're saying technically, it's not a perfect sphere. Technically, it's an oblate spheroid. Technically, but we might as well assume it's a perfect sphere when we look at it, because we don't have the time. It's just like, I was looking at the oblate sphere of the Earth in the air. No, it's just a waste of time. Just say sphere.
No. We got what they do is they round off, right? If it's closer to a sphere than it is an oblate spheroid, we call it a sphere or a globe. If it's closer to the oblate, then it becomes an oblate spheroid. In the case of the blue marble Earth, it's definitely a perfect, it's closer to a sphere or a globe than it is an oblate spheroid.
Artistically, yes. Technically, no.
No.
That's all. And hold on. And real quick. And there is a difference. There is a difference. Hold on a second. There is a difference between the pictures we see and the measurements of the Earth. I
get it. See, here's the thing. If you show like that picture you just showed, because I ain't talking about the Earth. I'm just going to make a demonstration with your image, because this is the same thing that we see with the globe.
Do you want me to pull mine up?
Go ahead.
Okay.
Because that teacher that told you to go back to your desk and give me an oblate spheroid, she's telling you to go back and flatten it some more because it haven't reached the threshold
artistically
yet. She knows what she's talking about. Now,
artistically.
Hold on. If I pay a company to do some work on my house and I tell them, listen, I want you to build this concrete slab and I want it to be an oblate spheroid, and I come back and they give me what you got on the paper, I'm gonna fire them and sue them if he stand up there talking about artistically. It's artistically. I'm gonna say, man, hey, I'm gonna say just what the teacher said. You gonna take this shit back and bend the bottom some more.
So if I was your construction person and you said that, I would say, how oblate do you want it? I would say, how oblate do you want it? I wouldn't just say, I'm going to make.
Hold on. Guess what I would say to you? When you say how oblate I want it, I would say right at the threshold of it just becoming to bulge out at the bottom. So you will
and they would look at you like this.
But what I'm saying is this right here. I'm going to show you a picture of what I'm saying. When I say oblate, I'm talking about right here. Just like this, right when it start to bust out the sides. When you start to smush it and you see the sides bust out just a little bit. Now that ain't exaggerated, because you can squeeze it some more and it'll really be oblate. So what I'm saying is that's moderate. Now with your drawing, it's not even moderate. It's still in the ball range of spear, man. That's no.
Okay, I get that. I get your issue. But the thing is, you have to acknowledge, and maybe you don't, but you have to acknowledge that technically, mathematically, it is oblate. Whether or not artistically and aesthetically it's oblate, technically it is. And when someone says, hold on, let me finish my thought. When someone says, how dare Neil deGrasse Tyson say that that's oblate when it doesn't look oblate to me? It doesn't look like this type of oblate. It's like, well, guess what? He didn't say it was that type of oblate. He said, and he literally said, it's like, well, technically it's oblate. It's a little bit wider at the waist, at the middle than it is at the top. Just a little. It's like 20 miles. He literally said that.
He said it's pear-shaped.
Oh, yeah. And guess what? He said, why did he say pear-shaped?
I don't know. You know him? Tell
Yes.
me.
Here. And you're gonna hate this too.
I
But
mean, do you know Neil deGrasse Tyson?
no, I don't know him, but I know exactly what he said. So if you take this,
but do you know why he called it a pear shape? Because
yes, I do. So I'm gonna go to my little screen share over here.
Okay.
If you take now, I can't do it because some reason my my thing's being stupid. My selection's being stupid.
We can
He
use
said,
our
he said because it's a little wider below the equator than it is above.
all right.
Little wider. So that means if you let's see, let me find my
It's a little wider below than it is above, but not enough for us to see it with our eye, right?
yes, because he was just happening to be talking about the fact that, and later in his sentence he said if it was wider at the top than the bottom, we would call it apple shaped.
Now let me ask you something.
So he wasn't saying it looks like a pear.
Hold up, he brother, he said it's pear shaped, man. He said,
yeah, he did.
okay, let's go with what he said. Let's not try to say, well, he didn't.
No. I am going what he said. He said it's a little bit wider below the equator than above. So technically, it's pear shaped.
Okay, but now my thing is, if it's not pear shaped enough to visually detect it, how you know it's pear shaped?
Because you have instruments to measure these things. He's not saying we can see it with our eyes. He's saying we're able to
you need an instrument to tell you the difference between a pear shape and a globe shape, or you can't. So listen, this is my thing. What instrument can make a globe? My eyes are looking at a globe, but the instrument detecting a pear. I don't get this.
So the same thing with the picture I had of an oblate circle. Your eyes told you that's a perfect circle, but if I click on it and measure it, a tool that measures things, I can see that it's actually shorter at the top than at the sides.
Okay, now listen. If
so,
you would have said
the thing is, what you're arguing is what science says is technically true.
All right, here
hold on, let me finish. What you're arguing is that what scientists say, and it's not new. People always say Neil deGrasse Tyson says. The fact is, this is something that's been brought up since the 50s, when I can't remember which one it was. Satellite went out and actually did the first real good measurements of the Earth. But it's just not one of those things that comes up much because it's a waste of time.
I don't think it is. It's learning. We're talking cosmology.
Yeah, but it's one of those things that doesn't come up often because you end up having these type of conversations that's actually getting away from the whole concept. What you're complaining is, what people are complaining is that what is technically true doesn't fit what we aesthetically see. So I don't want to believe it. And that's not the case. That's not an argument. He's saying it's technically, mathematically oblate, and he's saying technically it's a little bit wider. He chose to call it pear shape, but it's a little bit wider at the bottom. That's it. Now if you want to say that's not pear shape, fine. You can say that's not pear shape, and you can say that's no oblate, but you can't say he doesn't get to call it that because technically
I didn't do that. I just said he was
general you, not you.
I just said he's stupid for referring to it as pear shape. Even if I was a globalist, I would be mad. I would say, why the fuck would he say that? Like
that's a different argument altogether. But that's not. But to then say, "Oh, he made and show pictures of pears," is to show that to say that you're not actually going to listen to what he says and you're going to exaggerate. Not you, but people are going to exaggerate it.
Actually, we're going to make it personal. No one cares about Neil's feelings. Fuck his feelings. Let's just stick with the argument, because what I'm saying is this: if I look at this picture and he tell me that this is a pear-shaped Earth, me and my child is going to look at him crazy. He said, well, technically it's pear-shaped. I'm like, bro, this is a spirit. Like, well, instruments is detecting that it's pear-shaped. I'm like, them instruments stupid too.
Okay, see, that's different. See, now you've done two different things there. You've said what it looks like to me is like it's, that it's perfectly spherical. And he says, well, it's pear-shaped. Well, you're like, that's stupid because it doesn't look it to me. That's one thing. It's a perfectly legitimate argument. But if he says, technically, if we measure it, the actual Earth, it will be this, and you go, well, that's stupid too, then you're saying, I don't care what the actual measurements are. If it looks a certain way to me, then it has to be that way.
No, that's wrong. Here's the thing.
You just said that.
No, brother, let me tell you where I'm coming at with this so you can hear what I'm saying. This, if you measure this and you say it's pear-shaped, you're being specific. Now, if he measure this and he say, check it out, man, it's wider at the bottom than it is at the top, I'll go with that. I'll be like, okay, cool. But if he measured and say it's pear-shaped, I'm like, okay, how are you going to be that? You're now giving me specifics. You bringing up a specific fruit, saying it. What I'm saying is, if he say,
I get you. That makes perfect sense. I understand that.
I'm saying this for the people out there when you see them with the pear pictures making fun of it. Even globalists will laugh at it and say, yeah, well, he shouldn't have said that because you can't really be specific. I mean, because somebody else, another scientist said it's potato shape. Did you know that?
Yeah, because potato shapes also have that type of shape to it. You can call it whatever you want. It's just a visual.
When you get into that, it starts muddying the waters because we go from a globe, a sphere, a potato, pear, and then now it just opened up the door for a lot of just, people.
But I understand that completely. But if you allow that to get in the way of what is technically being said, that's on you.
No,
if someone says this technically, and not you personally, but in the person, any globe denier out there, not you particularly, if they allow that to be a hindrance to listening to the actual technical measurements of things, then it's on them.
No, what that does, it don't allow it. See, nothing is hindering nobody. It's not that deep, bro. Like we here to learn. First of all, a person that's looking at Neil deGrasse Tyson, they mind already in a good place because they ain't over on BET. They ain't over on, watching the bull crap. They trying to learn something about space. So they actually tune into Neil deGrasse Tyson. So what I'm saying is, for whatever reason, they're looking at that brand of content, they already vibrate on a certain level to want to know about the stars or whatever. But I think of what happened is none of these people are being hindered. I mean, they got answers. They want to learn about space. They want to learn about the universe, the stars. I was interested in it. And there's times where we say, hold on, that don't make sense. And sometimes we call these people bullshit. Not necessarily to the point where you'll become a flat earther. Like I said, a lot of globalists I've spoken to can't stand Neil deGrasse Tyson, and they globalists. So what I'm just saying is I'm throwing you a bone as to why a lot of them feel that way, as well as flat earthers. These scientists need to be careful what they say nowadays.
Absolutely. I will not. Yeah, that's the problem when it comes to trying to popularize concepts. When you're trying to boil things down to visuals that people like the average non-academic person can understand. You inevitably edit something that might be important, or you oversimplify something. It's a constant thing. So it is a problem, but it's like I said, it's on the part of the people listening also to take that a little extra information. But you're absolutely right. Sometimes someone will say something, you go, why did you have to use that analogy? That's going to make them think about. No, that's not the best thing to say. But it may be technically true, but it wasn't the best argument to make. But in the case of Neil deGrasse Tyson, he wasn't even making an argument. He was just being flipped because they're having a casual conversation. Yeah, I think he even mentioned that he was a little pear-shaped. I think he was a little, being a little bit, wider at the bottom. So yeah, there is an issue with that, and I can understand when people get frustrated with that. But that doesn't take away from the technical part of it. And when people, not you,
it does actually though.
What's that?
Well, you can't be technical about non-specifics. What I mean by that is this right here. In order for you to determine the difference between a pear and an apple, the dimensions have to vary enough. So if the pear don't bend enough at the top, and there's no distinction between it and an apple, you can't really distinguish the two. It's the dimensions of the thing that allow us to distinguish it. Like if you
you're arguing the analogy, and I get that. You're arguing the fertility of the analogy. Yeah.
What I'm saying is there's really no conclusive proof for him to determine that it's pear-shaped, technically or non-technically. And
I'm sorry, but that's just your opinion.
I wouldn't
Because
say
you don't have any. I'm sorry. There's no technicality that says it has to be a certain percentage to technically be oblate.
You cut me off, but here's the point that I'm gonna make though, because I'm gonna pass you the mic back. And thanks again for having me.
No, this is great. No, this is great.
See, here's my thing. It's not my opinion. It's Neil's opinion that it's a pear, just like it's the other science's opinion that it's a potato. It's nobody's opinion that it's spheroidal. Now, I didn't say it's a perfect sphere because I'm agreeing with you that it's not a perfect 360. Now, so that makes it a spheroid. But when I go and say, hey, man, it's a basketball, it's a soccer ball, it's a potato, that's my opinion. But we all can say technically it's spheroidal when we want to use technical science term as universal. If a man say, well, yeah, it's spheroidal, but it's potato looking to me. Well, it's pear looking to me. Well, universally, so we don't get into all the personal interpretations, we just going to say it's spheroidal. That was my point with Neil deGrasse Tyson, man. Just keep it simple, stupid. And I think you would even agree with that.
Well, yeah, I'm fine with that. But I don't know if you noticed, but it seemed like you were perfectly fine with calling it spheroidal there, and by your previous definition of what oblateness, you seem perfectly fine, or to acknowledge that it's an oblate spheroid.
No, that was my whole argument.
I know, that's why I don't think you noticed. I'm just saying, you go back and listen. I don't think you've noticed that you've said that it's not, and then given definitions that says it is.
No, you're not hearing what I'm doing. Let me break some down to you. I don't think you notice that what I'm doing, I'm not saying the earth is a globe or it's oblate or not. What I'm telling you is when you look at these images, is if you're saying it's not a perfect 360 degrees, it still don't qualify for an oblate spheroid. That's why I just said it's spheroid, not an oblate spheroid. So earlier, when you said that what you drew on a paper was an oblate spheroid, I maintained my same argument that it wasn't enough oblateness for it to qualify for a spheroid. The distinction couldn't be made between it being oblate or spheroidal. It didn't cross a threshold to make that distinction. That's why I brought up the pear and the apple. Well, I can determine a pear from an apple. I can make the distinction based upon the dimensions, the exaggeration of the pear being so bulgy at the bottom and skinny at the top.
I get it.
Well, you can't do that with the globe. It's not enough this detectable change for you to specify if it's potato shape or strawberry shape or fucking pear shape. So it's best to just say, hey, it's spheroidal
and oblate.
I wouldn't say it's oblate though.
Okay, you can say you wouldn't say it's oblate. That's fine. Arguing. Hold on. My turn now. And arguing that he shouldn't have said it, and it's not the best picture, and it puts the wrong type of image in people's heads, because when people think oblate, they think something more extreme. That's understandable. I get that. You can argue whether or not it was a good decision to use that, but technically it's still correct. But there's a difference between when you show that picture of the Earth, and I would never look at that and say, oh, by the way, that's oblate. I would never, because if I were to put a ruler down on that sucker, most likely I wouldn't even notice the difference in dimensions. Wouldn't be noticeable. It wouldn't. I might, technically in my mind, I might know the Earth itself is oblate, but that picture is different than the actual measurements of the Earth. That picture has clouds, it's got atmosphere, it's got all sorts of stuff in it. It's not actually just the land and water of the Earth. So when I look at that picture, I would never go, oh, that picture is oblate.
What you would say when you look at this?
I said, that looks like a perfect sphere.
Okay, and what if I say, well, it's not a perfect sphere? Then you would say, well, it's an imperfect sphere. You wouldn't say, well, it's an oblate sphere.
I would say, well, are you saying that this picture is not perfect, or
no?
What it's a picture of?
Let me answer you.
Yeah,
because that's irrelevant. Here's the point that I'm making. If I say, what is this? And you say, hey, man, that's a perfect sphere. And I'll be like, well, actually, it's 359 degrees. You're going to be like, oh, well, it's not a perfect sphere. It's an imperfect sphere. An imperfect sphere is still not an oblate spheroid.
It's something else. No, it is something else. And it might be an oblate spheroid.
It's
might
not. You dealing with might. I'm dealing with facts. Imperfect sphere is not an oblate spheroid. I can show you no oblate spheroid and an imperfect.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry. We're not going over that again because that's rehashing an argument that we are
fine.
never going. No, we're never going to come to, because I think you're going down a fundamentally wrong road, and you think I'm going fundamentally.
See, here's the thing, man. I think that what I'm doing now is pointing out how the psychology of the globe is really vague and it's inconclusive, because I'm being very specific here. I'm saying this is, if you saying this is not a perfect sphere, okay, I'll give you that. If you saying that it's not perfect 360, cool. I'll say, well, it's an imperfect sphere. But the moment you say, well, it's an oblate spheroid, I'm like, well, hold on, there's a difference there. To the left in blue is an oblate spheroid. To the right is an imperfect sphere.
Because you've decided there's not a hold on, because you've decided that the extreme is what the definition is. Now, if you go back and listen to your own previous thing, that you said the moment it starts to squish at the top and bottom, it becomes oblate.
I didn't say that.
Go back and look.
Guess what? I said that, but you're going to keep on repeating the rest what I said with it? I said a moment you start to squish it at the top and bottom, that's starting to become oblate, but it got to reach a threshold for it. Here's the thing. I told you earlier, I said if I got a beach ball in my hand and I press it at the top and bottom by 1 degree and make that 360 into 358, I said it's still not oblate yet. Those were my words. I said I got to keep pressing it till it reach a certain threshold,
okay,
to where it's considered an oblate spheroid. And guess what?
By you.
Hold on, wait a minute.
By you.
Brother, just let me get this out and I'm going to pass you the mic, please, because it ain't got nothing to do with by me. We agreed on this together. It was by you too, and I'm going to point it out. We crawled with this together. You showed me a perfect sphere. We agreed a perfect sphere. Then an imperfect sphere. We start to say, okay, cool. That's a spheroid. Then the third phase of that transformation is starting to become an oblate spheroid. Now that ain't according to me, because I didn't even create the word oblate. Scientists had to say to themselves, what is going to determine the difference between a perfect sphere and an oblate sphere? And they say, you know what? This amount of the degrees. And what you can do is matter of fact, let's look up the definition for spheroid and oblate spheroid so we can have a universal foundation. Fair enough?
Go ahead.
So a spheroid is a sphere-like, but not perfectly spherical body. Cool, that's like what you draw. A solid generated by a half revolution of an ellipse about its major axis or minor axis. So, cool, simple definition, spheroid, a sphere-like, but not perfectly spherical body. That's cool. That's why we say an oblate spheroid, not an oblate sphere, because it's still a spheroid with its oblateness. Because you see what I'm saying? It's not. Only thing that a sphere is a perfect 360. A spheroid is sphere-like, but not perfectly. An oblate spheroid is when it's no longer, when it starts to become distorted and starting to be it crosses the threshold from being a sphere, and now it's starting to become a pancake. So once it get in the twilight zone of being a sphere and a pancake, and it's neither one of them, they call it an oblate spheroid, because it's not a sphere and it's not a pancake. Is 1 foot in, 1 foot out. It's right in the middle. It shares the spherical properties and the flat properties, because now it has became flat enough now that is in between that. Can
you go back to the definition the screen that had the definition?
Yeah, it's right here. I'll highlight it for you.
Okay. It's going to disappear the second I start talking. Let me. But what it says, actually, I'll just pull it up myself so I can read the thing. You put in a spheroid. That what you put in?
Matter of fact, if you just click on my face on the Hangouts, you'll see it. It'll pull up on.
I got it here. Yeah, I know, but I don't want to have to go back and forth. Here we go. A solid generated by a half revolution of an ellipse about its major axis, prolate spheroid, or its minor axis, oblate spheroid. So when it's being rotated, if it's a half oval being rotated around its minor axis, it's an oblate spheroid. Didn't say how much, as long as it's as long as it's oval, a little bit oval, doesn't matter, doesn't say what degree, and it's rotated around that axis, it's an oblate spheroid. There's not a threshold. It's just the second it's off being a perfectly spherical, sphere-like but not perfectly spherical solid generated by a half revolution of ellipse. So the second it's not perfect, and it's rotated around the minor axis, it's an oblate spheroid. That's it. That's it. Technically, now I can understand aesthetically what you're saying, but technically, once it's a little shorter top to bottom than it is side to side, it's an oblate spheroid. The moment, even if it's just a half a tenth of a quarter of a percent, it's oblate spheroid. Now, it won't look like it, and people shouldn't waste time talking about it that way, but it technically is.
I will say this. There have to be a distinguishing point when you deal with technicalities, and I don't think when you use the word technical, you really understand the technicalities of it. So it's about, and what you saying is not true, because you denying this threshold, and see, the thing is this. I get what you're saying. You said, hey, give me a 360-degree sphere, I take a degree off in each end. Technically, that's oblate. I get you. I'm trying to understand how you looking at this, because I really want to understand you. So what I'm saying is, you saying, hey, we've begun the process of making it oblate, so let's go and call it oblate. But what I'm telling you is, if you look at the definition of spheroid, it will still be a spheroid, not an oblate spheroid. Now, let me tell you what makes some an oblate spheroid. I'm sorry. It's just that this is not necessarily good for the video, in terms of you're literally going to go over something that we've gone over a couple of times in the last 45 minutes. That's all. I just don't want it's repeating content. You getting annoyed or something, or
no? I just don't literally,
Or do you have short attention span? Because when I was in the military, we did a lot of repetition to grab. If you didn't my sergeant to make you go over it all day. If you didn't understand it, we're gonna stand there and get it. We'll draw it out. Fine. That's what we're here. We're thinkers. I'm totally fine with it if you're all, bro. I want to learn the difference. It's important to me.
But the thing is, it doesn't. I hesitate to say this. It doesn't seem like it is, because you're literally repeating this out. You'll say it's X, and I'll show you that it's Y, and you go, yeah, I get that. Yeah, I can see what you're saying. And then you'll go back and repeat X again. Even though we've just agreed.
Hold on.
Yeah, go ahead.
Me agreeing with you doesn't mean I can't still formulate my own opinion. So I can agree with you and continue on to think for myself. There's no problem with that. Why is that a problem? I can agree with you and still go on to make a point. Why do I have to agree with you and just shut the fuck up?
No, because the thing that you agree with, the thing you repeat, is completely contrary to what you just said.
I haven't even spoken. You don't even know if I'm gonna repeat some or not now. I'm about to read the definition of oblate spheroid. We haven't done that yet.
Okay.
What was funny? I mean,
well, because right here in the definition of spheroid, it actually has the definition of oblate spheroid in it.
Have we read the definition of prolate spheroid?
I did when I read the definition of spheroid.
No, did we read it to the public, the difference between an oblate and prolate spheroid?
Yeah, I actually did it. It's over here in the definition of spheroid, and I read it out loud.
You read the definition, but did you read the? Oh my God!
Go ahead, read it.
Read the definition for spheroid, but I don't recall us reading the definition for oblate or prolate. Am I wrong about that?
Yeah, actually, in the second definition, it actually specifies prolate and oblate.
Can you go back and reread that? I must have missed it.
Yeah, and I saw
that it specified them, but I didn't get the definition for them.
A solid generated by a half revolution of an ellipsoid about the major axis, a prolate spheroid, or the minor axis, an oblate spheroid. Those are so basically the definitions of oblate and prolate are right there.
Exactly. So the point that I want to make for that is you has different kinds of spheroids, and you're saying that the Earth is an oblate one, not a prolate spheroid. So check this out. Here go the two different ones, and you just made my point, and we can end this argument now. I'm gonna do a vote. I'm gonna do a vote to my chat room, and you can do a vote with yours too. You say the Earth is an oblate spheroid, but if you want to be technical and use the definitions you just gave, it qualifies more as a prolate than it does an oblate. Visually and technically, to the naked eye and the measurements, it would round off more to a prolate spheroid than an oblate spheroid, and that is a fact. End of argument.
I'm fine with that.
Cool, I'm fine with it too. I'm right, you're wrong, and Neil's wrong. It should be a damn.
Except for in your picture. Except for in your picture, actually, you know, it says prolate on the left and oblate on the right. So it's still oblate. Look at your desktop.
Brother, what you need to know is that the oblate one is the one in blue, and the prolate one is the one in yellow, regardless of what.
Right, and it's wider at the equator than it is at the north to south.
My argument is the Earth is a prolate. This picture right here that you call the Earth, it would be more of a prolate spheroid than an oblate spheroid if we round it off. That's all I'm saying. And we could have.
How are you rounding it off? What measurements are you using?
Okay, if I'm rounding off the 10 and I'm at number 8, I go to 10. That means, listen, if you're telling me that when you compare these, right, and you compare this to the Earth, that is it closer to prolate or oblate? I would say prolate, because if I was to round off, I see what you're saying. Round off, I would go. It would take me quicker to make this into a prolate sphere than it would to smush it all the way down to an oblate when it's already damn near a prolate sphere.
So looking at those two pictures, the yellow one is taller than it is wide. The blue one is, I'm not looking at it, I just remember what it said. The blue one is wider than it is tall. Now, if I said the Earth is wider than it is tall, technically, what would you call that? You would have to say, given the two choices, wider than tall, that means oblate. Taller than wide, that means prolate. Now, if you said, which one of these two pictures does the Earth look closer to? That's different, because the way these pictures were drawn, it fits more prolate. But that's just the way these pictures were drawn. And that's not how we do things. We don't say, oh, well, the Earth looks more like that picture, so I'll call it prolate.
We say the Earth look more like this, so I'm gonna call it a pear or a potato. That's how it works. We call it pears and potatoes. Now check this out. This is the thing that I want to point out to you that you're missing. I get what you're saying, and you're right. Neither one of us wrong, but here's the point that I'm making with mine right here. Rounding off. Now I get you. That ain't how it works. We don't round off to determine stuff. But if we were rounding off with the naked eye, people would say that Earth would be more.
What are you rounding off? That's what I'm confused about. What are you rounding off?
I'm saying, how long?
Round off numbers.
Okay, no, you can round off anything, brother.
You're rounding off. So you're rounding off a picture?
No, brother, I'm rounding off degrees. You asking me so many questions. Let me answer one. Hold on a minute. Now listen, what I'm saying is this right here. When you're rounding off, you're saying, hey, how quick can I make, what's the quickest one we can reach? Because if I'm at number 8, I can go to 10 quicker than I can go to 5. So I round off 8 to 10, that's quicker. When in this image, will it be quicker to turn this into a oblate spheroid or prolate spheroid? It'll be quicker to just stretch it two more degrees and 3 more degrees into a prolate instead of smushing it all them degrees down to go to the oblate. That's simple. I'm saying, hey, rounding off this would be more of a prolate spheroid. And you said something that was true too. You said that if it's more wider at the sides than it is at the top, technically it's oblate. I can agree with that. But it's still rounding off, it would be more prolate. So I can see that's a stalemate. And but if you want to say that it's oblate because it's a little bit wider at the sides than at the top, I'm saying it's not that the degrees of varying isn't.
Sorry, you broke up. Can you repeat? You broke up a bit. I couldn't quite hear that. Can you repeat that?
On.
You broke up.
Hold on, I'll refresh. Hold on a second.
Hey, everybody. Is this? I hope this is enjoyable and entertaining to you guys. I don't want to get
is
bad
that
content
better?
Yeah, so far. I mean, we'll see what happens. Yeah, you just broke up for like a good 4 seconds, and I couldn't hear what you were saying.
Okay. Yeah, I was saying, yeah, it's all good. I actually understand where you're coming from. You're saying, I'm gonna pull this up one more time. You're saying that the globe Earth images we see, the reason that Neil and other scientists say that the Earth is oblate is because it is more wider at the equator than at the top, even if it is even just a slither. You can technically say is oblate. Technically, in the sense that you're using the word technically, I will go ahead and agree with you right there. Technically, yes. But for it to be visually approved as oblateness, I guess what I would say is that you will have to exaggerate it a bit more, kind of like what you said your teacher would tell you, hey, go back to the desk and get that right now, you know.
Yeah. This is the art. Yeah, I won't argue against that at all. You're absolutely right in terms of what visually reads, what tells somebody. So saying something's an oblate spheroid, or especially saying something is pear-shaped, puts a specific visual in people's head. And when they go, I look at the Earth and I don't see that. What the hell are you talking about? I get that. Yeah, I totally get that. When someone says it's pear-shaped, instantly people get a certain shape in their head.
Yeah.
And when they look at the Earth, they go, that's what? Why are you saying that? There's a disconnect there, and I totally get that. That's a issue that just has to do with being conversational, trying to paint pictures for people. You don't always paint the best picture, but whenever you try to simplify things, so you have someone say potato, you have someone else say pear. Hell, if you came into the Earth, looking the other way and you're upside down, you could just say apple, because who's to say which one's up and which one's down? Who's to say? So doing things like that can be a stumbling block. And if it's a stumbling block to you, I understand that completely.
No, it's not a stumbling block to me. It's just a joke to the world. Like Neil made himself a joke with that. You obviously aware of it, that's something that didn't even a lot of his peers, like, hey man, pear-shaped, come on, bro. So it ain't about it. It ain't a stumbling block to me. I'm successful. I'm fine, bro. It's a joke is what it was. And I'm, just telling you why.
Yeah, and he kind of said it as a joke. He was like, it's kind of pear-shaped.
Well, I ain't take it as a joke when I heard it, but yeah,
but he also wasn't the first to say it. I've read articles from the 80s where people were saying that it was oblate and slightly pear-shaped.
Yeah, I'm not going to dwell on it, but I will say he's the first person to refer to it as pear-shaped, but he's not the first person to call it oblate.
No, he's not the first person to call it a pear-shaped. He's the first person you heard.
Oh, so that cat ain't original? I knew he was a piece of shit. He ain't even original.
Yeah, I know. That is messed up. That is messed up.
He ain't even original. Did he drop the mic? Was that original, or did somebody else do that?
I think that was Chris Rock, man. I think he was just biting off Chris Rock on that one.
Hey man, I tell you,
to sue him for that one, just taking that dropping the mic thing.
Hey, this is fun. I got another question.
Okay, one more, and then I got a lot of super chats I wanted to talk to. It's been 2 hours and 45 minutes. So not with you this whole time, of course, but so I'm going to want to get back to the room and see what's up and all that kind of thing. I appreciate completely this conversation, your willingness to come in. I apologize in advance for the vitriol you'll probably see when you look in the chats.
Well, let me tell you something right now, man. I don't expect I know what to expect from the crowd that I'm dealing with. I know the psychology of the people I'm dealing with. So trust me, you don't have to warn me. I get
Oh no, yeah, I'm not warning you.
I get
If I know
death
you're ready
threats.
for,
Look, I get death threats. I get all kind of your mama should have avoided you. Let me tell you something, man. Just because I disagree with, and I'm gonna tell you, it ain't even about the shape of the earth when you don't even know how to treat your damn fellow human. So if it's anything like real talk, besides the shape of the earth, people like that, man, it don't matter if they right out or I'm wrong. They got a lot of learning to do with themselves personally, deeper than the shape of the earth. That shouldn't even be on their mind. They should be getting their spirit right if they got that vitriol in their hearts. But thank you, brother.
No,
we'll
yeah. So yeah, I'm just saying in advance. Yeah, I know you know what's up. You and I have been doing this for a while. We know what the kind of vitriol is going to come at us. But I just want to like I said, apologize in advance because I think you know that that what I'm showing you right here is who I am and my opinion. I think I'm talking to you, realistically, real talk. I'm not putting on anything. You're not going to hear anything from me in the chat that's going to be different from what I'm saying right here. I try to present myself, real. And so understand, I respect you for coming on and having this conversation with me. I may not agree with you, but you put your argument forward and you're willing to, put up with my interruptions and my positions, like an adult. So thank you very much. You had one more point. Go ahead and or a question. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna, since I had my screen sharing, I was just gonna ask you what you think about this particular image, since it was up there before we get out of here. Like with the United States being half the size of the doggone Earth, like you would agree that this is like, whoa.
And that one was taken from a satellite in relatively low Earth orbit with a very distorted lens. So it's your classic fisheye look. Where it's got the widest field of view it could, but it's actually too close to the Earth to get close to the front of the Earth. So it's getting whatever's right in front of it and just bending the rest of the picture back. That's literally what's happening. If you look up where it was from, it's from a relatively low satellite.
Okay, cool. I ain't gonna hit you with too much. I was gonna hit you some more. I'll take that answer. A lot of folks on my side ain't gonna take it, but I'm not here to debate. I'm not here.
That is not the entire Earth. I mean, that's technically the whole, it's not cutting off anything in the Earth. It's just the way the field of view of that camera works. It's not seeing anything else, and it's distorting things to make it look kind of spherical. But what
you think about Russia's image of Earth with the orange continents and all that? What you gonna say about the lens? What kind of camera made them all?
I don't know what kind of camera it was, but all I know is that every time I take a picture, I look a different color.
Okay, thanks, man. Hey, thanks for having me, my brother.
But you can also, depending on depending on what the reasoning is, you can have a camera, especially a satellite camera, that is more sensitive to certain wavelengths because you want to pull the land out. You might want to pull the land out through the clouds, so you'll be more sensitive to certain wavelengths and more will pull through.
Okay, one more.
And then what they will also do is just real talk. They will artificially color things to make things more distinct because they wanted to see certain things. So they say, okay, anything that comes in with this wavelength on it, we're going to make it a tone of brown. It's technically just a level of, say, of infrared at a certain wavelength. But they say we're going to translate that into brown, and so then it'll be a certain intensity of it. They will color things.
Yeah, I'm gonna just say, man, they should hire you, man. They really should hire you, brother, to be like an ambassador, because you get. I'm serious, like you're good, man. You got an explanation for everything. Let me see if you got an explanation for this one.
All right, last one.
Last one. What are stars at in the background on all of these pictures?
Oh, that's actually relatively simple. The Earth is actually relatively bright. It reflects a lot of sunlight off the clouds. And so in order to capture the Earth without the glare, you have to actually change the size of the aperture. You have to reduce the amount of light coming in, or the Earth will just be really bright. So as you reduce the light, it's like when you go outside and there's the stars are out, but there's a bright like street light in front of you, and your eyes kind of go like that. You don't see the stars because your eyes have adjusted the aperture to make the street light not so bright in your face, and that's made everything not so bright. So then the stars go away. Now you get away from the street light, You open up the aperture of your eyes,
I get you.
and all of a sudden it comes in.
I get you. I don't want to, because you know, I know you got to go. But so that's why we can't see stars from space, right?
No, it depends on where you're at and how long where you're facing and what you're doing.
So like on this picture,
if you allow your eyes to adjust, like if the astronauts when they were on the moon, there's a lot of glare off the moon. But if they were to take the time, which they don't have time to do because they have a job to do, but if they were to take the time to go sit over in the shade of a rock, block the horizon of the moon and sit there for 10 minutes or so their eyes can adjust and their pupils can open up, they would be able to see the stars. But
so
that's not doing their job though.
So listen, why don't we have to do all of that from Earth when we see the stars bright as hell in the sky? We don't have to do all that, and we standing on the bright object. It's like standing on a flashlight.
Yeah, and so the light is not coming into our eyes; it's going past us. We're looking up and away.
But the light is engulfing us.
No, it's not. It's the light is going past us. So, and we're doing it at night. We don't do it in the daytime. You don't go out in the daytime and look at the stars because then the light is engulfing us. It's bouncing off the earth, hitting the sky, coming back to us. It's scattering across. It is engulfing us, making it so noisy that we can't see.
When we're at nighttime looking at the stars, we're still in earth shine. Sunlight and moonlight don't have nothing to do with earth shine.
No, well, yeah, it does actually.
Everyone on the earth is always under earth shine, no matter if it's night or day. Just like this picture show.
But what level of light is there?
Enough where you shouldn't be able to see the stars according to your logic.
That's your opinion. No, according to my logic, you're looking up, and depends on where you're at, because there are times when you I try to go out and see things all the time, but I live near the city. There's all sorts of noise.
I live in Area 51 area. We got the most sightings here because we high up in elevation. Here's my point. We can see the stars clear, visibly bright from Earth, but when we leave Earth and get closer to the stars, it's just darkness. It don't make no sense with the logic.
And no one said that.
So next time we hook up, we're going to start right here, if that's okay with you.
Okay, but just so you know, that's not what is said.
Okay, go ahead.
When you say we're on Earth, we're looking up. We don't do it with the sun in our eyes. You don't do it with the sun in our eyes. Sun's on the other. Usually it's nighttime. Sun's on the other side of the planet. Right. So there might be the moon. You generally try not to do it with the moon there either, because that's really annoying as well. So you try to get the moon off to the side. You maybe look off to the north a little bit so that the moon is over there. And so then you sit and you let your eyes adjust. Usually when you first you get out the car, you can't see anything. And you sit there for a minute and your eyes adjust. And your aperture, your pupils of your eyes, which are the apertures of your eyes, they open up and start letting more light in, right? And so eyes are awesome. They can do these fine adjustments. And so then you start to see the light of the stars. Now, anybody comes by in a car, anything happens, all of a sudden it gets noisy, visually light pollution happens and you can't see them again. And then you have to come back. Now, so you can see them because you're not, this earth shine that you're talking about is bouncing off the earth and going past your head. It's behind you going that way. You're not seeing it. And it's just, there's no clouds in the sky. If there's clouds in the sky, you get screwed because you will get bounced back and then you can't see anything. But there's no clouds in the sky. Woo, all that goes off into space and not into your eyes. So all you see is the light coming down this way. I know this is absurd, but so this is the way I'm doing it, but light comes down this way. Now,
hold on. I can't even see you.
Okay. I'm doing all this. So you're looking up at the stars. Earth is shining behind you. Light's going that way, from just basic casual, light going up that way. It's not coming back into your eyes unless it hits a cloud and comes back. So that's the only time.
I get what you're saying. Our line of sight is going with the grain, so it's not
So light's coming in. Yeah, so light's coming in this way. We see stars. Now we go out to space. Now, if we turn so that the sun is behind us, then we can do it. But if you're just standing out in space, we could be looking at the Earth at nighttime, yet have the sunlight coming in us right here. So you have to get in a place where you can turn where the sun is not by you, the moon's same thing, and also turn off the lights of the craft that you're in, so it's not on you, and you can still see. Now you can still see the stars. It's not different. It's just a different circumstance where you have to, get rid of the light pollution the same way. Now, some people say, it's like, well, I've never, they didn't see the stars. Well, it's like, maybe they didn't because they had light pollution, like especially on the moon. There was always light bouncing off of the moon and they're looking at it right there. But if they took the time, which they didn't do because they had a freaking job. But if they took the time to sit and stargaze and be calm, they would have been able to see the stars. Some actually said they did catch glimpses every so often. Same thing with astronauts. They have lights all inside the in the ISS. There's lights all in the ISS, causing all sorts of light pollution and things like that. They're generally facing the Earth, and there's light bouncing off the Earth. But if they take the time and go to a spot where they can look off into space and turn off all the lights and let their eyes adjust, they'll be able to see the stars. There you go.
Okay, we'll pick up on it next time.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate that. It was an honor. It was a pleasure. It was fun, and I'll see you guys next time.
All
Salute to your chat room. Peace out.
Take care, bro. All righty. Did someone just try to come and say something to me and my family? All right. Woo. All righty. I don't think I'm letting anybody else in the room today because it's already been 3 hours. Now, first thing I want to do is I want to look at these super chats. You guys have been hitting up, and I'm sorry for not bringing them up in line with the conversation. They might have been related to the conversation, but let's look at these here. Let's see. We got super chats from Renee. That was the last one. Fat paramotor guy. Thank you, Renee, again. Rapid X. Thank you very much for your super chat. Ivan Stevanov. Saying subscribe to PewDiePie. Love you, Jerry. No homo. I don't care if you love me, homo. Doesn't bother me at all. Has nothing to do with me. Let's see. Renee's got that classic love is bombarding children's websites with flat Earth. No, that's some type of dementia. Ivan again is getting bothered with the way Brother Sanchez was starting to sound, saying he started to sound like Nathan Oakley. Again, he says it was like calling a person pear-shaped and not saying they actually look like an actual pear. It's just that slight distinction. Renee again. Let's see. According to the Globe people, CGI Blue Marble is reality. Thank you for bringing Brother Sanchez, giving Wonder, blah, 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 blah. You're welcome. I'm not going to read the rest of that because I'm not particularly fond of that phrase that you use, so I'm not going to say it. But actually, according to the Globe doctrine, the CGI Blue Marble is a composite of several photos. And the clouds have been added in later. There's the original CGI, Blue Marble, and all the original ones that come from other satellites that aren't the Blue Marble, that new Blue Marble, and they aren't CGI. And those are the Globe reality. Anatoly, thank you very much for your super chat. Renee again with the same claim. Not going to read that one again. Anatoly again with the super chat. Thank you very much. C, thanking me for my patience. Saying that Mr. Sanchez was an immature thinker. Let's see. Aki Hamish, thank you very much. Looking for an Oblate super chat. Let's see. Ivan again, it's all clear to me now. I am a 358-degree sphere earther. That's pretty funny. Hugo Perez, that's why there are FE peoples. I'm not sure what that means, but thank you very much for your $2 super chat. C, saying Sanchez mods have blocked them. Let's see. Donated, and rather than thanking me, accepting me, thought they blocked me. Okay. They blocked him. C, don't know if male, female, over on Brother Sanchez super chat room. Carmen Sanchez, please learn how degrees work. Yes, that was frustrating because it didn't have anything to do with degrees. Brother Sanchez, you're probably watching. I hope you take the time to go back and watch this video to see how some of the things you were saying were actually contrary to what you were saying before. That's what I was trying to tell you. But I didn't want to be too argumentative about it. But as you can see, I have a tendency to step on people. But hey, I don't mean that. The ideas start coming to my head. Fletcher saying great stream, excellent channel. Saying Brother Sanchez, the reason we can't see stars is this thing called exposure, and mistake not, saying I am an awesome teacher. Thank you very much. These are all really great. I don't know how many super chats that was today, but that was awesome. Thank you very much. Let's see. And what else is going on? Yes, I will. You were talking to me, Graham. Yeah, so you get to see most of the time I think he was talking so you couldn't see my screen, but I'm sure you could see the times when I was actually frustrated. Because it's like, and sometimes I think I was being frustrated when I wasn't on camera. So I kind of made sure I showed my frustration when I was on camera, because I didn't want to make it look like that it wasn't actually affecting me in any way, because it actually was. Let's see. I see Team Skeptics in the room. Hey, what's up? Oh, Aaron Bates. Oh, yeah, 50 minutes. Airplane flying, we're good. Aaron Bates, hit me up separately, and we can maybe do something. I'm trying to stay out of bringing more people on. Well, I might. Still got a little bit more time. I got to find out what's going on with my family. Let's see who else is in the room. Let's see. Thank you very much, Apple Crow. Yeah, that must have been fun for you. I hope it was interesting to you guys. It was, it was frustrating because there was a lot of circular stuff going on and coming back, and yeah. Flathead Pollock says, "Oh, you were defeated, kind sir. Okay, if you think so, go ahead. You can think that all you want." Yeah. No, it was a good conversation. Whether or not it was anything was was learned on either side. I think it was a good conversation. Seems like seems like a cool guy. I think we could probably have nice long conversations if we were in person. But I didn't want this to get too repetitive for you guys here. Maybe people who jumped in and out and just came in on the end, hearing something being said for the first time, it's no big deal. But if anybody goes back and watches this whole thing, there's probably going to be a good half-hour stretch that will seem like it's a repeat of the previous half-hour stretch. Yeah, so I apologize for that, but that's just what happens sometimes in these things. Let's see. No, we had a nice conversation. He says, Gramson, go do some kata. Oh, yeah, we don't have kata in CLOT. We do have what's called long movements. And yeah, I'll probably be doing some of that a little later today. And definitely tomorrow. I got 3 hours of stuff to do tomorrow. Got a super chat from Design Song or Song One. Bro Sanchez, strange credulity because his tactic is if you're explaining, you're losing. Maybe. I don't have a problem with explaining. But no, that was good. I think I'm glad he came on. I think if somebody like what's this guy's name? Daniel Pratt or something came on today, we wouldn't be able to have that type of conversation. And I want to make sure I like the idea of having a civil conversation with somebody, even if you don't agree with it. And obviously he and I so did not agree on things. It was, obvious. I could see he was getting frustrated with certain things. I know I was getting frustrated with certain things, but none of us took it to the level. None of us took it to the level of name calling, going crazy. Even when I said things that I know were personally critical of him, I tried to make sure couch it that I wasn't meaning it to be insulting. But sometimes you have to say something that's critical about the way a person's thinking about something, but you have to try to do it without saying, "No, man, that's just stupid, man. Stop thinking that way." You don't want to do that. That puts them on the defensive and makes them not want to talk to you. So even though I thought there were things he was going down the wrong avenue, I tried to make sure I understood. I wasn't trying to insult him, just trying to point out that I think he was going down the wrong road. So once again, is that another one from Aaron Bates? Yeah, Aaron, hit me up separately. Maybe we can do a Google chat separately. This has been, pretty long. So I'm going to start wrapping this thing up. Let's see. Whew. Starting to get warm. Yeah, he was talking about Earthshine, and I'm assuming he was talking about when I talk about light coming off, I talk about light pollution of the city that you're in. Like you have the objects around you that are sending light out into the air and maybe bouncing off of clouds. I think he was trying to say that there was something other, like when he said something about Earthshine, other than the sunlight, that's different. And I'm all, hey, this Earth is shining because of sun on it, or it's radiating off on a wavelength that we can't see. That's why I was asking, like, how much are you talking about here? Because it may be radiating off, infrared and things like that we can't see, that doesn't interfere the way we see things. But no, the Earth does. I would say that the Earth does have light coming off it. It's just not like a wavelength that bothers us at all. Because it's either ultraviolet or infrared. It's not its own like visible light, but there is light in our cities in our area that's sending light up. So can't remember who was asking that question. Young Tahuti. Does that answer your question there, Young Tahuti? Let's see. Bum bum bum. Frank Mill, thank you very much for the congrats. Sanchez made globe deniers look exactly as they are. The illusion of scientific understanding was cast off. Thank you, GreaterSapien. You're welcome. I'm in. The thing is in those situations, I'm kind of in it, so I'm not necessarily seeing everything. I'm seeing kind of what's right in front of me. I'm not necessarily seeing everything that's going on. I did see that there was a lot of things that were contradictory happening. Him agreeing about it being an oblate. I mean, you heard it. He pretty much ran down the definitions of oblate and spheroid and how it fit, yet he still continued to go off on something else. But so again, I hope you look back at this, Brother Sanchez, and you can see maybe what was being said. I'm sure I'll look at it again at some point. Let's see what else is going on. Sleepy Dan, Sean, use gravity, dude. Let's see. Somebody's message was held for review. All right. Has anything been happening in Discord? I totally have been not paying attention to that. No, nothing's happening in Discord. All right, cool. And while I was doing this, did I get any emails from anybody? Any questions from any other globe deniers? No. I'll check back and see if anybody has gotten around to responding to my request for questions. Because while I'm doing this, maybe someone sent something up, but it's kind of late if you wait until I'm on the air. So, okay, who else is Periscope's proof flat Earth? You're in therapy for hair. Yeah. So, Aaron, yeah, let's hit me up separately. GreaterSapien at Gmail, and we'll have a separate conversation. So you can tell me what your thoughts are on submarines, because I just don't know how they're made, but I have my assumptions, but that's what they are. Let's see. Globe revisionist. Don't know what that's about. Denials associated with anti-Semitism. Oftentimes, yes, there was a certain amount of that. He didn't get into it, and so I didn't want to ask him about it. But when Brother Sanchez was talking about the Black Lives Matter movement and how it's being controlled by other people, I'm pretty sure he was, referring to, the whole George Soros conspiracy type of thing that can be, not necessarily for him, but can very much be rooted in anti-Semitism, but not accusing him of that. But I'm just saying that's something that comes up a lot whenever they're talking about George Soros. Taken in to was that 52 S2? You should speak. He says I should speak slower. Your recent guests in here aren't used to normal speaking speed. Yeah, sorry about that. I know I get to going. Let's see. Young Tahuti, what color is the Earth's light? Probably somewhere in the infrared or ultraviolet spectrum. Infrared after it's absorbed a lot of heat during the day, and then it's radiating it off at night. So that would be the color. That would be infrared. Let's see. Flathead politics. Well, right off the bat, you're called Flathead politics. So let's see what your thing says. Do you think for yourself you would lose subs if you spoke out against something that's considered mainstream, such as water curving around the ball? Would I? I probably, but why would I speak out about that when I don't agree with that concept? you're asking me, it's like if I took a position that I did not agree with, would I lose subs? Yeah, people would know that I didn't agree with it, and I would lose subs. I don't say anything that isn't already in line with what I say. Or if it's not in line with what I say, I'll say it. I'll say something like, "Well, actually, I'm not sure about this, but what I've heard is." Then you'll know I'm saying something that someone else has said. But to ask me if I think for myself, and then say what I lose subs, I don't care if I lose or gain subs depending on what I say. I will say what I say based on what I understand and what I believe. And because sometimes I'm talking about silly opinionated stuff that has nothing to do with science or critical thinking. It's just like comics, So yeah, it doesn't affect the content or whether or not I get subs for it. But thanks for asking. Let's see. Moderators have been working overtime. How's it been in the room, people? How's it been in the room? Has it been good? Let's see. So we got Team Skeptic and Fred Knotts. Let's see. Please shop at Burger King. It keeps flat earthers employed. That's funny. The only time I ever go to Burger King is like on road trips. It's just like one of those things. It's like, hey, we're on a road trip. Let's do Burger King. Ivan, do you think of doing your part sub to Pew? Why? Why the whole PewDiePie thing? It doesn't. I don't even watch PewDiePie's videos. Why would I need to sub? It doesn't matter to me. I don't watch them. I don't watch the other one. I'm not in his wheelhouse of subs. I think my son might have subbed to him. But that whole thing is just kind of silly. The chat is being very civil. Good. Nice to see. I know Brother Sanchez was talking about getting attacked, so I wasn't sure. Let's see. I'm gonna start wrapping this thing up. So before I do that, I'm going to let's see. Gonna drop a thing. Hey, Tim Skeptic, you got a minute to pop in the room? Father Skeptic. Let's see. Bum, bum, bum. What about you, Young Blue? What's going on with you? Young Blue, you can come in. Sorry, I don't know, not during the thing, but if you're still there, I'm going to give that to you, Young Blue. Who else is out here? That might want to pop in. Sean Hawkins, are you on the Discord? Let's see. Yeah, so I got Father there.
Hey, what up, bro?
Hey, what's up? Nice to hear from you. Let's see who else is on it. Who else is in the room that might be able to pop in? Let's see. I've got a moderator, Sean Hawkins. I don't know what's up there. He's not on Discord though. I think Young Blue's gone. And Graham King. And actually, who was just asking to talk to me about Super Chat? Let's bring that Super Chat person in. Who was that? You just lighting up over there, man?
Me?
About the Father? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Had to get my morning Wheaties.
I just heard this sound. I'm like, I recognize that sound.
Yeah, it's a I have a slow day today, so I'm just taking it light.
Cool. Yeah, keep it light, man. Keep it light. Let's see, where's that super chat? Someone was asking in the super chat to talk about submarine stuff, and then see if they know what they're Aaron Bates. Hey, Aaron Bates, are you on? Drop me an email. I'll let you come in and talk about submarines just for if you can do it, and if you can do like a 5-minute tutorial on submarine stuff, and then we'll be good. So how you doing, Father Skeptic? Aaron Bates, I'm at GreaterSapien at Gmail. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I'm living life, loving it, and
how are things going with the with the copyright strikes and all that kind of stuff?
I'm still waiting on YouTube. I was actually just looking at this morning. It's now been 27 days since I have received an email from YouTube that told me it would take 10 to 14 days to remove the copyright strike. So still waiting on them. I don't blame them. They've got to watch their own product. You know, they got to ensure the protection of their own product. So they're not just going to jump on top of everything because I said, hey, I'm right.
Right.
So it does say in there that it's still submitted for final review. In fact, I'm going to go look at that right this second. That'd be really cool if I looked and it was not yet. Still down. Cool. And still says, you said you had Daniel Pratt in here earlier?
I think someone said that he was around because he was the only person that actually sent a video that sent me a video question. Literally, he's the only one that he sent me a video. And of course, it was just insulting. It wasn't actually asking any type of question about the globe,
of course,
or anything like that. It was just about the polar flight and being insulting. So I just let him know that it's really too bad that he doesn't have the ability to
form a legitimate question.
Yeah, it's like, come on, man. So and then apparently I think someone said that he's going off on his stream because he was mad at me or something. But honestly, I do not care. Hey, what's up?
Hey, what's up?
And still one more quick call out to, I think it was Aaron. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't know this cat's name.
Yeah,
Aaron Bates that wanted to come in and talk about submarine stuff. Said he
I also have Sean Hawkins said he would like to come in, and I mean not Sean Hawkins, Sean Hufford. I was looking at Sean Hawkins. I was looking at his picture trying to relay a message from Sean Hufford. So I apologize. Yes, Sean Hufford would like to come in. Would you mind if I
go ahead, drop the link over there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, Danny's
right there.
Danny's upload went up like within seconds of you posting this.
Oh, yeah. Was it a stream or was it an upload?
It was just an upload.
Okay. What was it? I haven't seen it.
It was just him calling you names, saying, yeah, you couldn't answer the question. You were tap dancing, whatever, just his usual insults.
Right. Yep.
Well, good afternoon, everybody.
Hello. Oh, hey, Young Blue's in there too. Hey, what's up, young man?
Well, just to address Sean real quick. That's
Which
funny.
Sean?
I do Hawkins, what he just said. The people like Daniel Pratt, they have all this time to select, like they can watch all of GreaterSapien's videos and go, okay, he knows about this, he knows about this, he knows about this. He hasn't ever talked about this. Maybe this exclusive science he might not know about. So let's pop this question to him and expect him live on the air to be able to give us the perfect scientific answer for it when he's never done any research in it, or it might not be a topic that he's ever been taught about or anything. And at least he has the intellectual honesty to approach the question open-minded. Whereas with the flat earth, there is no open-mindedness about them. You give them a topic that they don't understand about, and the simple answer is you just made that up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, for example, Brother Sanchez, who was on here, I don't know how many of you were able to sit through that entire thing, but he asked me about submarine stuff. And it was like, I know how submarines work in general, but I don't know how their guidance systems work. And so, I said, it's like, I literally said, well, I don't actually know how guidance systems work on there, but I have a feeling there's probably something like this. But that's it. I wouldn't claim to have any mastery on it. And the fact that I didn't have an answer doesn't mean that, you're wrong and the earth is flat. It just means I'm just honest that I don't know that topic. When people talk about how specific film works and how, they talk about, Apollo and how the certain film has this type of experience, like, I don't know that stuff. So I'm not even going to act like it, but find out that I don't know that stuff and try to put me on the spot. But no, he chose to just say, it's like, what happened to that money? And are you basically, it's like, are you this type of idiot? Are you that type of idiot? Are you both type of idiots? That's basically what it's. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, go bite me.
I think the main purpose of like Bro Sanchez or others coming on your channel or talking to you is they think they're going to get you on a gotcha. They think they're going to get you. And if you slip up in any way, shape, or form, that means the Earth's flat.
Right.
Well,
But I there's certain things that I do or don't do it. When it comes to social media, one, I don't say anything on social media that I wouldn't say straight to somebody's face or out on a street corner at the top of my voice. I just don't. That's just how I am. Of course, that's because I'm a dick. And so there are things I would just say to somebody's face and out on the street corner, but I don't. So then when no one can say that I'm acting one way, one place, or I'm putting on anything. And also, I stay in my sphere. It's like I don't try to talk outside my my sphere of knowledge. So that kind of keeps me from just like putting my foot in it. It's like oh, that's a good question. I don't know that. Yeah.
Well,
So,
there was one thing that he did get away with you with.
What was that? Probably, yeah.
When he was dealing constantly going on about the degrees of a circle and versus the degrees of an oblate spheroid. It's still 360 degrees.
Yeah, I try to tell him, it's like, it's not, and it's not about degrees. I said, dude, your degrees is not the measurement you're supposed to be dealing with. And then he said, well, yeah, I'm just using degrees, as for this thing that I'm talking about here, because I know that's not where it goes. But when the end, it's still 360 degrees. Wait a minute, you just said, okay, it's not degrees.
He kept on going about, it'll be 357 degrees. It's like, no.
And I think the reason he thought that, the reason right off the bat is because I just happened to have made a circle that was 360 pixels by 360 pixels. Just like random, just like perfect circle. And I think he got stuck on this whole that I made it 357. And that threw him, and he stayed in the degrees thing when it was not. Yeah.
I think it also, when someone says it's oblate when it's squished to a certain degree.
Yeah.
I think that's where it comes up too.
I actually made a comment in the chat when he brought that up. I was like, okay, say you have a sphere that's 4 billion miles in radius. From one side to the other, it's gonna be 4 billion miles, or diameter, I should say.
Yeah.
But it's 1 millimeter short of 4 billion miles from top to bottom. It's still technically an oblate spheroid.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And there was a whole thing with technically versus kind of artistically and aesthetically and this and that. And then he said the words, once you start to squish it. I'm like, once you start, that means that one little bit.
I hate to break this to everybody, but there is no such thing as a perfect circle in nature, ever. You can't, we as human beings we can only conceptualize what a perfect circle is. Even the best machines, even no matter how far in the future we go, will never be able to recreate, not in nature or on a computer, a perfect circle, just due to the fact that we're going to run into the problem of the shortest length possible that we can possibly measure will be a straight line, which means that every circle you've ever seen, every perfect circle you've ever seen, has been a combination of small straight lines that are, just
maybe the universe is a perfect sphere, but who knows? We wouldn't be able to tell.
Yeah, well, there's going to be perfect spheres outside of our universe if you, according to us, because but according to them, even their limitations, unless we find that, at the master universe, the master dimension where everything is inside of it, if it has no limitations on limits of smallest measurable units. Once you remove that, then yes, if you can measure down to infinitely small, then you can recreate a perfect circle.
It's not possible. Yeah,
the closest thing we have to a perfect sphere is the 1 kilogram standard.
That little. Is it a kilogram standard? That nice super polished ball that they made?
Kilograms. It's huge. I mean,
that.
Yeah.
I thought there was another one that was about that big that they polished into like some insane degree of perfect.
Yeah.
Might have been it. That might have been
something more. Yeah. But still, it was like the technical expertise required to do that was insane. It's just nuts.
Now, my question is, if you took all of those standards and took a file and raked it across it, would that make everything else in the world heavier?
If you did what?
Really? That's
if you shaved off part of all the kilogram standards, would that make everything in the world heavier?
Or less massive or heavier? Or, more massive?
Well, yeah. Because the standard is now changed.
Yes.
Oh, by the way, for everybody,
that's your question.
I'm Sean
Hufford. You up at night?
That's Sean Hawkins. We are not the same person.
Yeah. No, we aren't. They no hair,
dude.
Not bad.
Yeah, I totally made that mistake. And it, you know me, I just speak as I'll be looking at something and talking, and I'll talk about one thing and the thing I'm looking at the same time. So when I said Sean, he was actually on my screen, and I was like, yeah, Sean Hawkins wants it.
Hey, Young Blue. Hey,
Yeah.
Young Blue. Were you listening in on the Brother Sanchez conversation?
Yeah.
What was your takeaway? What were you hearing? How was it coming across to you?
It was. He was just saying a lot of just things that he just kept getting wrong over and over again. Like when he was talking about the Oblate, and he just kept saying wrong things that just went with the 359 degrees things. It was just so annoying listening to that.
So do you think, Young Blue, do you think what do you think in terms of his criticism, that I wasn't hearing him? Do you think there were times I was misinterpreting him, or was there messages that he was sending that I wasn't quite getting? How was my interpretation of my reaction to him coming across?
Yeah, there are definitely some things that he said that might not have made perfect sense to anyone, really.
But you think I was giving him a fair shake?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you actually pointed out something I've been saying for the last 3 or almost 4 years now about people who are woke deniers, to use your word. Is you'll actually correct them on something, you'll get them to accept something, and they'll go on another topic, and then about 5 minutes later, they'll go back to the original topic again, like you never covered it at all.
Right. And he said, well, just because I agree with you doesn't mean I don't get to have my own thoughts. It's like, but if your next thought is completely contradictory to the thing you just agreed to, don't have that thought. Change your thought.
Yeah, that's what I find the most frustrating about this whole conversation is you'll cover something, they'll agree to it, and then they'll completely forget it 20 minutes later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sorry. I think you were starting to say something, Young Blue.
Oh, no, I didn't say anything.
Okay. I know I have a tendency to talk over people, and the loud voices in the room tend to talk over you, so I want to make sure that you have something to say. You get hurt. So any other thoughts on that conversation that you heard that I may not have heard, because I know the little things are getting slipped in, that I'm, because they just start coming, and I'm still trying to think about, okay, how do I explain this concept to him, and he's going off on something else already, and I'm like, no, let's get back to this, and so I may have let some stuff slip past me. So if anything you saw that thought needed to be expanded upon.
No, the only thing I think he got to slip past you was the whole 357 degree jump.
Yeah, that was technically it.
that was kind of yeah. He did it a number of times, and then later on, I tried to come back. Well, stop talking about degrees. Stop talking about it. But yeah, that's fine.
Yep.
But it was fun. I mean, I've never spoken to the guy before. I literally don't watch his videos. I've seen him pop up and other people react to him. But I'll probably start watching some of them now. But it was kind of cool going in cold, not having really an opinion of him, and just kind of reading him for what he was, without having like clashed with him in the chat room or something like that before.
So that begs the question: what's your first impression of him?
I know him. I have close friends who are just like him. I think he is a good example of what I was saying early on with him, was that people aren't necessarily stupid. It's not about being stupid, because the intelligence is there, but the ability there's like a inability to filter out like their own flaws or recognize their own flawed thinking that allows them to just accept, so it's a thought that came from my head, so it must be legitimate, so I'm going to run with it. Most people, not most people, but those of us who try to learn about these things, we try to recognize what we don't know, and we try to recognize the patterns we go down, and when at least for me, when something comes up and I feel something about it, I'm like, yeah, that's awesome that it works that way. I'm like, why am I feeling about it? what's it reaffirming about my beliefs that it's making me feel good? Okay, let me look at that. Am I biased when I look at that because I'm having a feeling about it? So I try to separate myself. But it takes work to be able to do that. It takes recognizing your own thinking to be able to say, oh, let me separate what I instinctively come to what is actually there. And so I don't think they're necessarily, I don't think he's stupid at all. He seems very quick, but I think he's too quick to accept the things that his intuition tells him, and not willing to review it dispassionately.
I think that's a fair assessment.
But he seems like a nice guy. He'll probably kick it. But we just don't agree. Just don't agree. Yeah, but it was fun. I enjoyed it. Though I'm sure you could see my frustration. I don't know how much frustration. I know I had a little picture down in the corner. But there were some times I was like, oh my God. And I'm on camera. I can't. All right. So that's my impression. Who else is in the room? Hey, did we lose? We lost Father Skeptic. Lost Father Skeptic. All right. What's going on with you, Hufford? What's going on with you?
Just got done finishing up a parody with the new computer that I got done because it died. So I finally got that done, like I promised already, like a week ago. Still waiting on some emails from teachers to deal with the whole Helens versus Rainier observation.
Okay.
I've talked with the vice principal. He's forwarded the proposition to the teachers and given them my email address, and I'm waiting on responses from them.
Cool. Good luck with that.
Well, it helps that I've known the vice principal since I was 18.
So 10 years?
I wish. I think I'm actually older than you, Jerry. I'm 47.
I'm 50.
Oh, okay. Maybe not. You age well.
I just look good. Yeah, 51 in a few months. Yeah. But who else? Sean number 2. What's going on with you?
Nothing much. My camera just died.
Oh, okay.
But
you working on anything? You said you got your. When are you going to purchase the telescope?
Actually, the telescope's purchased. The telescope part of it was the first half of the GoFundMe. The second half is for a mount. The mount that I have for it is just not really up to the task. So we're getting a better mount for it, and hopefully it'll go as smooth as it did the first half.
Cool. Well, good luck on getting some really good stuff out of that. I'm got some astrophotography done when I was down in Perth. I'm going to show a little bit of it in my next video, so that'll be cool. I'm looking forward to some good stuff up there. You're in what part of the country you're in?
California.
Oh, you're up north, right? You're
yeah, just about 150 miles north of you.
Yeah.
Mendo County.
Yeah, I think just after I got married, I did a not honeymoon, but we spent some time up there.
Oh, right on. Yeah, we're in the rainy season right now.
Oh yeah. I mean, I used to live in Guerneville. That whole place is flooded. This is gone. It's crazy. But I got something from Tim Osman, an email. I think he's saying, "Nice try having a conversation with a brother Sanchez." Email. That's what I'm saying. Nice try. I guess he's had some trouble with him in the past. What are you working on, Young Blue?
I don't really have anything in mind. My 2 latest videos just freaking exploded, so I'm not really sure what to do after that now.
Exploded how? What? Which ones are you referring
to? My 2 Red Pill Philosophy videos.
Ah, the Red Pill Philosophy ones. I've only seen one of them. Yeah, check out the analyze what you did, see if there's anything that you changed in terms of your methodology or whatever, and maybe that can govern how you approach your next videos.
Sounds good.
What's your sub level at right now?
I think 3,400 and something. I haven't checked.
Must
That's
be
awesome.
nice.
3,484.
That's awesome.
Well done.
It is
know
good. Well
I know
done.
there's some flat earthers who are just pissed off that you have that many.
Yeah, there's a
I've been
lot
working
in
at this
comments
for
as well.
years and I only have 1,400.
Are we
found
going to
YouTube
do a
for-
certain impression of somebody just raging?
I can't remember who that was. That was hilarious though.
That was Arwen.
That was
I've
Arwen.
been on YouTube since 2010.
And what do you got now?
Under 600.
Under 600. Well, for me, from 2010 to 2017, I think I had about 700. It wasn't until the 11 questions one somehow hit the algorithm.
Yeah.
And then I was like, what? Hello? What's going on? And then the other one started to, get picked up, but there was no reason, I was lingering at, I think 850 or something for years.
Well, Sean, I'm officially their 528th.
Oh, thank you, John. Appreciate it.
That's awesome. Alrighty. So okay, I'm gonna wrap this thing up because I got to prepare for life. But who in the room was? Oh, I know Father Skeptic was dealing with it. I know there's talk about trying to do something with the Flat Earth convention this year. Has anybody got any feedback on that?
Nothing but people wanting a big old group of us to go down there.
I know. Father Skeptic was making phone calls. I don't know if he's.
Yeah, I'm back. I don't know what happened. My Google Hangouts crashed, and I had to restart my computer to get it to work. I have sent an email out already to him, just a good faith email saying that I would contact him sometime in the next couple of days, which I'm probably gonna wait till Monday to contact him. But the idea is to get people like yourself, Sean Hufford, even if Sean Hawkins can make it, Godless Engineer, try to get Conspiracy Cats and Simon Dan. Fight the Flat Earth already said he's there.
Mm-hmm.
But we all need to go down there and just represent for the globe in a positive fashion. Go down there, try to open dialogue with some of these people that hide behind their computers and make some wild, outlandish statements. But I don't know. Like I said in my stream, the idea is to understand where they come from. They don't believe what we say, but we believe what we say. Why is that?
Mm-hmm.
And we don't believe what they say, but they believe what they say. Why is that? And to understand that about each other would make it a more open to conversation, at least a more productive conversation, in my opinion.
Yeah, when someone's right in front of you, you have to recognize them as a person, and with and that it's their opinion, and this is where they're coming from, and you have to start talking to them as opposed to just arguing a worldview and just attacking that. It's like, well, no, you're right in front of me. Let's talk. I'm going to tell you why I think this, and you tell me why you think that. Make eye contact with me. Say, hey, stay here. We're talking, and have a grounded conversation with folks. I think it'll be good. But I think that's the only way to do it. I mean, I put out a call. I asked people if they wanted to come talk to me, and they, or even just send me a video with a question. Nope, they don't want to have. They'd rather snipe from a distance.
Yeah.
But so yeah, unless I'm working, unless I have a specific case or something like that that's keeping me from it, I'm gonna. Yeah, it's an easy Southwest flight for me just to hop over. I can just use miles and get over there. I'll be fine. It is weird though that it's a Thursday and a Friday.
Yeah, I know. But that does give us options to see if there are people that are going to be down there. Maybe we can do Friday, Saturday, Oops, that's the phone. I'll get that in a second. Anyway, maybe we could do Friday or Saturday. Hey, I'm going to mute myself real quick.
All right. Who's this political hillbilly that's trying to do something in the chat? It's getting pulled off. Yeah, good.
Political hillbilly still around?
I don't know. So, yeah. Getting deleted a lot. Apparently there's a lot of posts going on by that person. Same with Al Loop. Interesting. Come on, guys, keep it civil. Let's wait for what's going on, Father. So have you heard about I'm assuming not something you could do, Young Blue. Plus you're relatively anonymous. We don't want you being seen by the public and being attacked. But I think it's a pretty cool thing that people are thinking of doing. I was actually thinking about doing it last year, but I ended up working. I thought about not announcing it to anybody, just showing up at the last convention. But it didn't work out. But I was just gonna show up outside.
Dang, I'm having hardware problems, guys. I don't know if y'all were addressing.
We're gonna be wrapping this up. Let's just go down the line real quick. Hey, Young Blue, do you got anything to say to folks before we go?
Not much really. Subscribe to PewDiePie, I guess.
Hey, how about recognize what's going on here and say, hey, congrats, GreaterSapien, for your 30,000 subs. That's the whole reason we're here today. But no, let's talk about the guy who's got 110 million subs. And
87 million.
Whatever. Let's talk about that guy instead of recognizing and telling people to sub to me. Thanks, man. Thanks, bruh. No, thanks for coming.
I got your back, Blue. Don't worry.
No, Blue knows I got him. We cool. So thank you very much for stopping in, Young Blue. Let's see, Mr. Hovhert.
Well, of course, if you're not subbed to GreaterSapien, you just got to ask what's wrong with yourself.
See, that's how you do it.
Well, it's simple fact. I mean, you're the most well-spoken guy that I actually know here on YouTube. Not buttering you up, it's just on fact. But yeah, I mean, just enjoy the debate, enjoy the conversation, and hopefully you don't fall into the rabbit hole.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you very much, sir. Hawkins.
Yes.
Anything? Any exit words?
No, not really.
You got something coming up soon?
Yeah, when the weather gets better, when I can get out there with the telescope, I'll be shooting some moon stuff, trying to get into some of the Messier objects, like the Horsehead Nebula, Orion, stuff like that. So hopefully, and I also have a new, I created a new YouTube channel specifically for astrophotography.
Okay, drop a link into the chat.
Okay, I haven't really released it yet. I'm still working on getting it organized and stuff.
When you roll it out, let us know.
Will do.
Okay, cool. And Father Skeptic.
Well, I must say, when I subscribed to you, you only had like 19,000, 18,000. I saw a few thumbnails and was like, nope, not listening to that guy. He doesn't look like he knows what he's talking about. Boy, was I fucking wrong. So when I did finally get around, no, I didn't make that judgment at first, but I did happen to see thumbnails. I was just coming into this community and I hadn't been exposed to everybody. And I came across your first video, and I believe, trying to remember which one, it was the one that blew up for you. I guess it was the Morgile video.
11 questions.
Was it? That's it. I think it was the one that is either in response to Morgile or Morgile responded to you.
Oh, okay.
And that's
gotcha. Yep.
That's where I was first exposed to the channel and been a sub ever since, man. Fucking, cool. It's a great channel. Like Sean said, anybody that's not sub to you just really doesn't know what they're doing. 30,000 is nothing. You should have over 100,000. It's easy. You're right up there with the best of the content creators. So wow. I think you have a great forum. You offer the opposing side a fair platform to express their opinions, and I think this is the community and as a whole needs more people like yourself.
Oh, thank you very much.
Absolutely.
And sub to PewDiePie. I love that guy, man. PewDiePie's awesome. So I love GreaterSapien more.
It's not my wheelhouse. It's just I don't, it's just not my wheelhouse and stuff.
Well, your kid's cool, but
yeah. Yeah, that's funny. Well, thank you very much, folks. Okay, I'm going to start signing off this thing. So just go ahead and drop out the room. You're greatly appreciated for all your support and your cool, nice shirt, very good. And no, it's been great. It's been a long road getting to 30,000 subs, and we'll see how long it takes us to get to the next plateau, which I don't know what it is, 50 or something like that. we'll see how that goes. I'm going to try to be a little more consistent while at the same time try to, try to branch out with some of the other aspects of my life. You'll start seeing more art and things like that, just because there are other facets to me than this thing here. So I hope you guys are willing to come along for the ride, and maybe some other people will come in as well. Boy, I see in the chat there's a lot of comments happening where someone's getting deleted. So I'm sorry that someone is not acting in a civil manner. It would be great if you could come and have a conversation. Pizza time, but either that or Graham King, are you being like really heavy-handed with your? Oh, there's some racism going on. Okay, thanks for letting me know. I was hoping you weren't just being super heavy-handed. Yeah, not everybody thinks that I'm a great advocate of these things. Not everybody thinks that my forthright, willingness to talk about these things makes me a good guy, and they're willing to attack me for it. And you know what? Bring it. I understand that saying the things I say will sometimes make me a target for people who have their own issues, and I'm willing to take those slings and arrows because it really doesn't affect me. It doesn't affect the facts. The reality is what it is. So I want to say thank you very much to all of my supporters, all of you who have been on here for this this live stream. I don't know who's been here the entire time. If so, you are insane for sitting here for the entire time, because I could barely make it. Actually, I think I had to get up and take a break at one point. But thank you very much for all your support. Let's see. I have 2 videos I'm going to be making today. One dealing with the rotation of the Earth in reaction to some comments made by young D. Marble using the celestial pole photos that I took when I was in the Southern Hemisphere, and all the I did 4 weight comparisons when I was in different parts of the Earth as well. I took.
How did those come out?
They came out.
Have you posted did you post a video about it? I haven't seen your.
No, that's my next.
Okay,
that's coming
good.
up. I took 1 kilogram. I did it here in Oakland. I did it in Perth. I did it in Johannesburg, and I did it in or did I in Sao Paulo? It might have been Sao Paulo. And then I did it in Bogota, Colombia, which was just like 4.7 degrees above the equator. It's the closest to the equator I got.
Cool.
And so it came out great. And so all those are going to be in my next video. So both of them deal with the spinning of the Earth. So that one there. So I hope you're all here for that. Once again, I want to say thanks to all my subscribers, to all my patrons. You guys have been great, especially being patient since I haven't been giving you guys special content. I've been giving you guys the same stuff as before, as all the rest of it. Okay, I'm going to sign off of this. And as always, I'm just going to say, try to learn something about the world today that you didn't know yesterday. If you can, help someone else do the same, and have fun while doing it. Because if you can't have fun while learning, you're doing it wrong. So,
doing it wrong.
Take care, everybody.